Imagine grinding in a deadly dungeon for 85 years straight just to earn a single stat point before getting crushed to death. That was the miserable reality for Yukito. He spent his entire life as a frail old bronze rank adventurer who was treated like garbage and left behind to die while everyone else got stronger. He drew his final breath completely alone, carrying the heavy guilt of never being able to save his sick mother. But his first life was so incredibly unfair that the game system literally crashed from a fatal error. It revives him 70 years in the past, with a massive apology bonus of 9,999 luck points. Now, every single attack is a guaranteed critical hit, and he's about to become the most broken adventurer in history. A group of rare monsters are just chilling in a field, and people are absolutely losing it because there are 4 silver slimes right in front of them. Our guy is hiding behind a tree, trying to stay out of sight. He knows that if these things get away, he's blowing the chance of a lifetime. But then something catches him completely off guard, and he absolutely cannot believe his eyes. Someone just goes full Leroy Jenkins and leaps right into the middle of the pack. The guy behind the tree shouts at them to wait up, but yeah, like they're gonna listen to him. And just like that, a massive beam of light cuts through the slimes for a literal critical hit. This isn't just a regular attack, this is pure destruction. He's not even close to done, landing critical hit after critical hit in a blur of motion. The system is basically screaming at this point with all the high damage numbers popping up. Check out that massive silver sword. Our protagonist, Yukito, stands there looking like an absolute boss after that display. Another critical hit notification pops up on the screen. It's like he can't even land a normal hit if he tried. Yukito's got that main character glow in his eyes. He looks focused, intense, and honestly, a little bit scary. Talk about a jackpot. The system confirms he just looted S-rank silver slime armor, gauntlets, and boots all at once. He's standing over the remains of his kills while loot screens pop up everywhere. This is the kind of RNG most players would sell their soul for. The other adventurers are losing their minds in the background, wondering how he did it in one hit and managed to make them all criticals. Yeah, welcome to the show, buddies. This guy can't stop shouting about how lucky Yukito is. To be fair, getting 3 S-rank drops in one go is basically winning the lottery. Yukito scrolls through his new gear, and yep, it's all S-rank. He's probably wondering if the game just broke. He's staring at his status screen, convinced he's finally making up for a lifetime of suffering. This isn't just luck. For him, it feels like destiny. And then we get a glimpse of him. It's Yukito, but as an 85-year-old bronze rank adventurer. Talk about a rough previous life. Welcome to the Tokyo Dungeon, first floor. It looks like a chaotic mix of a modern city and a fantasy nightmare under a blood-red sky. This buff dude is holding up his phone to show everyone the incoming disaster, telling them to look because the monsters are coming. This is definitely not the news you want to hear. The phone screen shows a dragon-like monster trashing the city. The caption says the outside is already lost, so there's literally nowhere to run. The dungeon is a total mess with people running for their lives. Everyone is panicking because the monsters are about to swarm up from the lower floors. Some young guy is lecturing the old Yukito about hunting slimes. He thinks the old man is just wasting time while the world ends. The guy just brushes the old man aside and keeps moving. Meanwhile, old Yukito is just staring at some slimes in the distance like he's got a plan. The old man is just walking toward the monsters while everyone else flees. People are calling him insane, but he looks like he's given up on caring. Someone sneers that he's a useless old geezer whose stats never increase. Ouch! Tell us how you really feel. They're just leaving him behind to die. This jerk actually shoves the old man to get him out of the way, calling him a soft-bodied geezer like he's no better than the slimes he's hunting. Old Yukito ends up on the ground, looking tired and broken. His sword is just lying there in the dirt next to him. He reaches out a shaky hand for his blade, thinking about how many decades it's been since adventurers first appeared, and he's still at the bottom. A close-up shows the toll the years have taken on him. He's got that look of someone who worked hard for a lifetime and got absolutely nothing for it. He watches other adventurers fight slimes while he reflects on how growth patterns are different for everyone. Some people are just born winners, and then there's him. Another adventurer slashes through a slime right in front of him, yelling that he's in the way. Man, nobody has any respect for their elders in this dungeon. The guy checks his level 37 screen and sees a stat boost. Yukito thinks to himself that even if he got a boost now, it's decades too late. He watches a healer work her magic on a teammate. For everyone else, growing and getting stronger is just normal. Yukito stands alone in the shadows, looking at his own trembling hands. He's been through so much, and for what? Check out these stats. Yukito Takahashi, level 98, and his strength is only 5. That is beyond tragic for someone that high level. He's got a look of grim determination on his face. He's not going to stop until he hits that level cap, no matter what it takes. We see a flashback of him as a young man, training like a maniac. He's putting in more effort than anyone else, swinging that sword until the air itself ripples. He was a beast back in the day, pushing his body to the absolute limit. You can see the intensity in his eyes as he strikes. He reached level 98 just by hunting the weakest monsters over and over. He knows he's the only one crazy enough to take the slow road like this. Back in the present, the old man swings his sword with everything he's got left. Even as an old man, that arc of energy is pretty impressive. He stands alone in the middle of a vast, empty field as the sun sets. It's a pretty lonely sight for a man who spent his whole life grinding. His sword finally gives out and snaps in half, falling into the grass. That's a bad omen if I've ever seen one. A simple message appears on a black screen. The level cap is 99. He's only one level away from the end. He's telling himself he just needs one more level. He's convinced that once he hits the cap, all the suffering will finally be worth it. He turns around to face 2 more slimes. He doesn't even have a real sword anymore, just his bare hands and his will. He charges forward with a terrifying look on his face. He looks more like a monster than the slimes do at this point. He's literally wrestling the slime with his bare hands, shouting that he must be a super late-blooming type. Man, talk about delusional. He's actually biting the slime. This is the most desperate thing I've ever seen in a manhwa. He's tearing into it with his teeth while the slime tries to absorb him. It's messy, it's gross, and it's honestly just sad. We get a close-up of his bloodshot eye as he pushes past his limits. This is it, the moment of truth. A blue light surrounds him as the level-up message finally appears. He's crying because it's finally happened. He reached the cap. The system officially congratulates him for reaching the maximum level. His hands are shaking as he reaches out to touch the screen. He looks completely overwhelmed with emotion, begging the system to finally reward him for all those years of hardship. He falls to his knees in the middle of the field, praying to whatever god is listening. Then, a tiny window pops up, telling him his strength increased by 1. Here it is, level 99. His strength went from 5 to 6, and that's the big finale. Are you kidding me right now? Look at that stat bar. A lifetime of grinding for a single point of strength. That has to be the biggest screw you from a game system ever. The realization hits him like a truck. He mutters that there's no way. Yeah, I'd be saying the same thing if I just wasted 80 years for a +1. He collapses into a ball, screaming at the sky that he got nothing at all. The poor guy is having a total mental breakdown, and I don't blame him. He's clawing at his face in pure agony. He put in all that work, and the reward was basically a joke. Everything goes dark as monsters start to surround his broken body. He's given up, saying there's nothing left for him. A massive, terrifying demon looms over him. It looks like his journey is going to end in the most brutal way possible. The monster is huge, covered in armor and shadows. Old Yukito is just a tiny speck beneath it, waiting for the end. He's staring death in the face and calling his own life the worst one ever. He's dying full of regrets. A flashback shows him standing in the rain, hated by everyone around him. He was always the outcast, the failure that everyone looked down on. He's haunted by the fact that he couldn't even save his own mother. It's clear his life wasn't just a failure in the dungeon, but a tragedy at home too. We see a body covered by a sheet. This is the moment he lost the person who cherished him most, and he's still carrying that guilt. A cracked photo of his sister on her wedding day appears. He blames himself for ruining her happiness too. This guy really had it rough. He closes his eyes for the last time, wondering if it's finally over. After a life like that, death probably feels like a mercy. A giant claw slams down with a sickening splat. It's a violent end for a man who just wanted to win. Blood splatters across the sky as the monster finishes him off. It's over. Or is it? A simple, cold screen appears. Death. Most stories would end here, but we're just getting started. Wait, the screen is glitching out. A fatal error has been detected in his status system. Looks like the game didn't like how his life ended either. The system is applying a patch and rolling back his life. Is this a literal restart? Talk about a game-breaking bug. A green heart rate monitor starts to pulse in the darkness. He's coming back to life, but where and when? A hidden parameter just unlocked. Apology. Status bonus. Special status points plus 9999. Okay, now we're talking. That's a massive apology. He hears a thoughtful hum and sees a blurred figure at a counter. Everything is still a bit fuzzy as he wakes up. The voice congratulates him. He's still trying to figure out what's going on and why he's not Monster Chow. A receptionist is smiling at him, holding out a tray with a license. She tells him that from today, he is now an adventurer. Wait, he's back at the beginning. Yukito is young again. He's staring at her in total shock, trying to process the fact that he just traveled decades back in time. The receptionist asks if something is wrong. He's just standing there, probably looking like he's seen a ghost. He quickly snaps out of it and laughs nervously. He takes his adventurer tags and thanks her, trying to act like a normal rookie. He walks away from the counter, staring at his phone. He can't believe this is actually happening. He's really back. He's sweating bullets as he tries to stay calm. If this is real, he has a chance to change everything. He checks the date on his phone, March 15th, 10:32 a.m. This is exactly the day he first registered at the guild. He remembers that weird message about a status bonus right before he died. He's hoping it wasn't just a hallucination. He takes a deep breath and whispers to open his status. Time to see if that apology bonus actually stuck. His level 1 screen pops up. At first glance, he thinks his stats are just as bad as they were the first time around. Wait, he notices something at the bottom of the screen. He wonders if he can scroll down to see more. A massive shock hits him as he sees what's hiding at the bottom. His eye is wide open, reflecting the blue light of the screen. He screams in his head, wondering what the hell this status is. Look at that luck stat. It's literally off the charts. This guy is about to become the luckiest man alive. Look at that luck status. Yukito is staring at his screen, wondering if this insane power-up has been real this whole time. He's theorizing that this must have been some kind of mythical hidden parameter from his previous life. He can hardly believe his eyes, and honestly, neither can I. The poor guy reflects on 70 years of being the unluckiest person on the planet. Seeing his old, withered face compared to his young self is a total trip. Time to put this luck to the test. He heads out of the guild, determined to hunt some slimes and see if the system is actually broken. He arrives at the Tokyo Dungeon's first floor, also known as Indelible Footprints. It looks like a peaceful grassy field, but we know better. He spots his targets, looking way more confident than a level 1 adventurer should. He finds some basic blue slimes chilling in the grass. For him, this place feels like home after all those years of grinding. Wait, he senses something else. He reaches for his sword as a shadow looms over the field. Yukito's eyes go wide as he realizes what's appearing. He's breaking into a sweat just thinking about the possibility. It's a silver slime. These things are legendary for their rarity and the massive XP they drop. He remembers seeing this ultra-rare monster only once in his entire 85-year previous life. This luck is already starting to look legit. We get a flashback of his younger self failing to catch one. He was too slow back then, but things are different now. He knows these things have enormous experience points, but they're famous for running away the second they're spotted. He's got to move fast. Yukito lunges forward, closing the gap in a split second. He's just one step away from reaching it. He plants his foot firmly in the grass, ready to swing. You can practically hear the sound as he readies his blade. An arrow lands right in front of him, ruining his momentum. Some random hunter in the back shouts that they fired by mistake. Great timing, buddy. Yukito is absolutely fuming, screaming at the idiot. Yeah, I'd be screaming too if someone just cost me a legendary kill. The slimes start bouncing away because of the noise. They're quick little things when they're scared. The silver slime launches itself into the air to make an escape. Yukito isn't about to let his prize go that easily. He swings his sword through the air, but the slime is moving like a blur. It's a high-speed chase in the middle of a meadow. The slime spins around, trying to dodge his follow-up. These things are surprisingly agile for being literal blobs of goo. Yukito focuses, his blade glowing with blue energy. He's reading the slime's movements, waiting for the perfect opening. He lands a counter, catching the slime mid-air with a perfectly timed strike. That metallic sound means he definitely made contact. The tip of his blade pierces right through the center of the silver monster. It's a clean hit that spells the end for the little guy. The slime shatters into a million pieces of light. That is one satisfying explosion. He just leveled up 4 times from a single kill. Yukito is panting, totally wiped out, but riding that level up high. His cheap starter sword snapped in half from the impact. Silver slimes are apparently as hard as they are rare. Wait, there's a golden glow coming from the remains of the slime. This isn't just a regular drop. He wonders if it could be, his eye wide with anticipation as the light intensifies. It's a massive silver sword. He didn't just get XP, he got a high-tier weapon drop on his first try. The weapon has a massive bonus against silver monsters, though it has a high miss chance. Yukito thinks this is a great start to his new life. He looks ready to take on the world with his new blade, thinking it's time to hunt more. He walks into a clearing and finds 4 silver slimes just sitting there. He's genuinely wondering if he's still dreaming at this point. The slimes aren't running, they're charging. They're coming straight at him like little silver cannonballs. He readies his new, heavy sword, worried about the high miss rate. He's only one guy against 4 fast targets. His eyes glow with that intense light again. He's not planning on missing. A critical hit. A vertical beam of energy slices through the field. He's not just hitting them, he's obliterating them. He's a whirlwind of destruction, landing critical hits left and right. The slimes don't stand a chance against this much luck. Yukito stands tall with his giant sword, looking like an absolute unit. The battle is over in seconds. The critical hit message stays on the screen like a badge of honor. His luck stat is clearly carrying the team. The ground is literally covered in sparkling silver loot. He's getting more S-rank gear than he knows what to do with. He stares at his inventory screen with a huge grin. He's finally managed to turn his life around. He spends the next hour just farming like a madman, slashing through everything in sight. In this adorable chibi panel, he's just casually hunting 10 more silver slimes, shouting for another one. He's basically the slime slayer now. His inventory is completely full of rare drops. Armor, boots, weapons, he's loaded for bear. He stands on a hill as the sun sets over the dungeon. He finally accepts that his insane luck is 100% real. He throws his head back and laughs with pure, unadulterated joy, shouting that this luck is real, and it's about time. Yukito flops down in the grass, exhausted but happier than he's ever been. He stares up at the clouds, just soaking in the moment. No more 80-year grind for nothing. He reaches a hand up toward the sun, determined to finally become someone. He's got the power, now he just needs the plan. He closes his eyes and thinks about his family. He's not just doing this for himself, he's going to make them happy too. He remembers his sick mother in the hospital and his sister in her wedding dress. These are the precious things he lost the first time around. He punches the air from his spot on the ground, full of energy. This is his second chance to save them. He sits up suddenly, realizing he needs to check if he still has a home. He's been away for 70 years in his mind, so he's a bit disoriented. It's been so long since he was alone that the silence is almost weird. He's got a lot to catch up on. He grabs his sword and stands up, thinking that he wants to go home. That's the goal now. He steps into a bright blue teleportation circle to head back to the surface. He's running through the city, his heart racing. He's desperate to see his family again. Yukito is sprinting through the modern streets of Tokyo. He's moving so fast, people are probably wondering if there's a monster behind him. He stops in front of a familiar-looking apartment building. It's like a time capsule for him. He's panting, his heart hammering against his ribs. He stares at the building, almost afraid to go inside. He slowly walks up the stairs, trying to remember which room was his. Second floor, but which one was it? He stands on the balcony, looking at the doors. Being homeless for the last half of his life really did a number on his memory. He finds the nameplate 203 Takahashi. He remembers that's right, it's room 203. His gloved hand reaches for the doorknob. He's visibly trembling, which is understandable given the circumstances. He tries to tell himself to calm down, but he's a total nervous wreck. This is a bigger fight than anything in the dungeon. He takes one last deep breath to steady his nerves. This is it. He tells himself he's ready, turns the knob, and pushes the door open. The door creaks open, and we see a girl with long hair standing there. She's just as surprised as he is. She gives him a bright, cheerful smile, recognizing him immediately. It's his sister, Nozomi, and she looks exactly how he remembers. She welcomes him home, calling him big brother. Yukito's eye is wide with shock. Seeing her alive and well is almost more than he can handle. He doesn't say a word. He just lunges forward and gives Nozomi a massive hug, shouting her name. She's laughing, totally confused by the sudden affection. She asks him what's gotten into him and if this is a prank. She's struggling to get away, but he's not letting go, telling him to let her go already. They stand there hugging as the sun sets behind them. He thinks to himself that this time, he won't let anyone take them away. Yukito holds her tight, finally reunited with one of his most precious things. The journey to save his family starts now. Yukito sits down with his sister Nozomi to spill the beans on everything that's happened. He's laying out the whole story about his regression and that insane luck stat. Nozomi is absolutely floored, looking like she just found out her brother is a superhero. She immediately asks the big question, can his new luck actually save their mom? Yukito takes a cool sip of his drink and gives her a confident nod. He knows it won't be a walk in the park, but he's finally got the power to make it happen. He sets the glass down with a firm click, marking the start of his plan. The weight of that promise is heavy, but he's ready to back it up. The scene cuts to the next day, and it's time to see what all that rare loot is actually worth. Yukito is back at the guild counter, and check out those massive stacks of cash. He just sold off all his silver slime gear, and the receptionist looks just as stunned as we are. Welcome to the high-stakes world of the auction house. Up for grabs is a glowing orange potion that looks like it's worth a literal fortune. Yukito is right there in the front row, looking like a total high roller. He drops a casual bid of 10 million yen like he's just buying a snack. The auctioneer is losing his mind as the hammer falls. Yukito just walked away with the highest grade status ailment treatment potion in existence. The scene shifts to a bright hospital building under a clear blue sky. This is where the real work begins for our main man. He stops at the door for Ms. Yukio Takahashi, his mother. You can hear the light knock as he steels himself for the reunion. Yukito and Nozomi stand together in the hallway, ready to change their mother's life. He's holding that 10 million yen cure, finally able to fix what he couldn't before. He tells his mom it's him and that he's coming in. The door slides open and it's time for the moment of truth. The siblings walk in, with Nozomi popping out from behind her brother with a big, nervous smile. They've both been waiting so long for this. Their mother is sitting up in bed, looking frail but genuinely happy to see them. She lets out a small cough, showing just how much she needs this cure. Yukito gives his mom a warm, gentle smile. He's seeing her alive again, and he's not going to let her slip away this time. Nozomi presents her with a box of treats to brighten her day. It's a sweet gesture, but Yukito has something way more important in his pocket. Like a typical mom, she immediately starts worrying about their money. She tells them to keep their cash for themselves, but she has no idea how loaded Yukito actually is. Yukito tells her to stop worrying about the money because he's got an even bigger surprise. Nozomi is backing him up, looking like she's about to burst with excitement. Mom looks a bit confused, wondering what could be better than just seeing her kids. She's definitely not expecting a miracle in a bottle. He pulls out the 10 million yen potion, and it practically glows in his hand. He's asking her to drink it right now, no questions asked. She's completely shocked that her rookie son could afford something that clearly costs a fortune. Even in a dungeon world, 10 million is a crazy amount of money. We get a close-up of Yukito's determined eye as he gives the simplest explanation possible. He got lucky. Yeah, that's one way to put it when you've broken the game's RNG. He gently hands the bottle over, and you can hear the cork pop out. This is the moment everything changes. Mom holds the bottle, and you can see the magical energy swirling inside the liquid. This isn't just medicine, it's a 10 million yen miracle. She takes a drink, and the golden liquid goes down in one gulp. Yukito and Nozomi watch with bated breath, praying this works. Suddenly, she's surrounded by a warm, glowing light. Her eyes go wide as she feels the magic surging through her body. Yukito and Nozomi are actually breaking into a sweat waiting for the result. This was a massive gamble, but look at that relief starting to show. The light fades, and she looks like a totally different person. She's sitting up straight, saying her body feels lighter and she can finally breathe. Yukito lets out a long sigh and gives her the most genuine smile we've seen yet. He tells her that's great. Man, talk about a win for the Takahashi family. The siblings are celebrating with a high five and a cheer. It's the first real victory they've had in years, and they're soaking it up. In this adorable chibi panel, Yukito gives her a little treat because apparently the cure tastes like trash. Even a magical potion needs a chaser. The doctor delivers the news they've been praying for. The progression of her illness has officially stopped. Mom looks like she's ready to cry from pure joy. The scene cuts to her working hard in rehabilitation, guided by a nurse. She's taking her first steps toward a normal life again. She's finally permitted to finish her recovery at home. Seeing her back at their apartment building is a huge milestone for the whole family. The family is finally together again, walking under a bright blue sky. Nozomi says it feels like a dream, but Yukito is there to remind her it's their new reality. We see the remains of a home-cooked meal on the table. It's a simple sight, but after years of hospital food, it means the world to them. Mom is back in her apron, happily doing the dishes in their kitchen. For her, being home and doing chores is the ultimate comfort. Nozomi is beaming, so happy that their mom is actually getting better, but Yukito's face goes serious, knowing that the fight isn't over yet. Nozomi's smile falters as she senses the change in the mood. She asks if he's serious when she sees that intense look on her brother's face. Yukito breaks the hard truth. That expensive potion was just a temporary fix. It stopped the damage, but it didn't cure the root cause of the illness. He stands up from the table with total determination. If they want to save her for good, they're gonna need something way more powerful than money. He brings up the legendary elixir, an item so rare it's practically a myth. Just mentioning it makes the air feel heavy. Nozomi remembers seeing something about it on TV. It's the kind of thing only the world's top adventurers ever get a glimpse of. A news clip shows that elixirs are unique items that only appear below the 50th floor. To make things worse, they're soul-bound. You can't buy or sell them at any price. Nozomi repeats the name, unique items, looking a bit overwhelmed. It sounds like a suicide mission to go that deep into the dungeon. Yukito helps his mom with the dishes, looking like a totally normal guy while discussing world-class treasures. He confirms that unique items are the only way to get a permanent cure. The system explains that unique items are glory reserved for those who can defeat the strongest monsters. It's the ultimate reward for the ultimate challenge. Nozomi points out the obvious. If you can't buy it, you have to go get it yourself. She looks worried, knowing how dangerous those lower floors are. A close-up shows them working together at the sink. It's a peaceful domestic moment, but they're talking about diving into a literal hellhole. She asks if he can really handle going deeper than the 50th floor. Even for elite teams, that's a zone where most people don't come back. Yukito just gives a confident flick of his wrist and says there's no way it's impossible. He's got 70 years of experience and broken luck on his side. Nozomi is absolutely bugging out, shouting that it is impossible. She clearly thinks her brother has finally lost his mind. Yukito just gives her a sly, knowing grin. He admits that normally it would be impossible, but we all know he's anything but normal. He continues cleaning a fork, thinking about how his knowledge from his previous life is his greatest weapon. He knows things about the dungeon that no one else does. He knows that elixirs can actually appear outside of those legendary deep floors. You just have to know exactly where to look. He's thinking about a specific boss monster on the 20th floor. Most people ignore it, but Yukito knows its secret. Behold the ancient golem, a terrifying mechanical beast with a glowing red eye. This thing looks like it stepped out of a nightmare to guard its treasures. The system confirms its ultra-rare drop, a glowing green elixir. This is the holy grail Yukito needs to save his mom permanently. The catch? The drop rate is insanely low. We're talking winning the lottery low. A single drop falls from his chopstick, emphasizing just how rare it is. Yukito heads to the fridge, reflecting on how in his previous life, hearing about an elixir drop was a once-in-a-decade event. It was basically a fairy tale. He looks into the fridge with a confident expression. With his current broken luck status, those impossible odds don't mean a thing. The thought is practically screaming in his head. He should definitely be able to force an elixir drop. The game's rules don't apply to him anymore. Nozomi notices that look in his eyes again. She calls him out for plotting something, and honestly, she's not wrong. He turns around with a pitcher of tea, looking innocent and asking if he was making that face. Nice try, buddy, but you're not fooling anyone. She gives up and just tells him to handle it somehow. She trusts her big brother, even if he is acting a little bit insane. We get another close-up of his handsome, confident face. He's got the plan, he's got the luck, and he's ready to go. He pours the tea into 2 glasses, the liquid flowing smoothly. He says of course he can, sounding like it's already a done deal. He tells Nozomi he needs to make some preparations before heading back into the dungeon. He's not just going to walk in there and hope for the best. Chibi Nozomi is back, looking confused while she sips her tea and asks about his preparations. She has no idea the kind of gear her brother is planning to build. The chapter ends with a dark, intense shot of Yukito looking absolutely badass. He thinks there's always a workaround. That golem better be ready for what's coming. Yukito looks at an old photo of his family, probably thinking about why he's working so hard in this new life. It's a quiet moment before he starts getting ready for another dungeon dive. The narrator explains that to survive the dungeon you need 2 things. First, you need gear that doesn't suck. He's kitted out in that S-rank silver slime armor, looking like a total final boss. That silver greatsword is basically a cheat code at this level. Chibi Nozomi peeks into his room, probably wondering what all the metallic clanking is about. She's a bit worried about his casual clothes under the armor, but Yukito's got a plan. You don't need fancy robes when your luck is this broken. He looks a bit embarrassed, admitting that his actual base stats are still total garbage. Yeah, the armor is doing a lot of heavy lifting right now. A quick check of the status screen shows he's hit level 21, but strength is still sitting at a sad level 6. Thank goodness for that 9999 luck stat carrying the team. Standing there in his full kit, he realizes he can barely even swing that massive sword without gassing out. It's time to find a way to fix those pathetic numbers. He selects a new skill, Mighty Layer Strike. It's a high damage move, but the 30% hit rate makes it a huge gamble for normal players. Nozomi catches on quick. She points out that he's heading back in specifically to farm some stat boosts. Our destination today is the Alice Crown Broken Forest. It looks like a peaceful woodland, but don't let the name fool you. He's after a rare drop called Miracle Fruit that can permanently boost stats. Most people find maybe 1 a year, but for Yukito, it's going to be a buffet. Back at home, the siblings have a heart-to-heart. Nozomi just wants him to be safe, which is fair considering he's hunting monsters for breakfast. She hands over a home-cooked lunchbox, teasing him that he might get too full from all those miracle fruits. Talk about a first-world problem for an adventurer. Yukito takes it with a warm smile. A good lunch is the secret weapon of every successful dungeon crawler. The lunchbox goes straight into the inventory screen. It's digital now, so hopefully it stays fresh. He tells her he'll be going then, and heads out the door while Nozomi waves him off. This guy's got a mother to save and a game to break. The broken forest is full of weird mushrooms and glowing plants. It looks beautiful, but everything here probably wants to kill you. He arrives at the entrance of the level 5 dungeon. It's time to put all that silver gear to work and start the grind. The system confirms he's on the 5th floor, the Alice Crown. He's walking in like he owns the place, and honestly, with that sword, he might. This place is a beginner stage full of plant-type monsters. For most people, it's an easy clear, but Yukito is here for something specific. He's checking his map and keeping it cautious. Even with broken stats, getting lost in a magical forest is a bad day for anyone. He finds himself in a quiet clearing where the trees look a little too regular. He stares into the woods with a grin. He knows exactly where the Traint colony is hiding. These monsters are masters of camouflage, looking just like regular old trees until you're right on top of them. Walking into an ambush here is a death sentence for rookies. He picks up a stone, knowing that camouflage is never 100% perfect. Time to play a little game of who's a monster. He hurls the rock and immediately starts moving. This guy isn't taking any chances with stationary targets. The rock hits a tree trunk with a thud. Notice how those roots are growing? Yeah, nature doesn't work that way. Suddenly, the tree starts creaking and growing massive wooden spider legs. It's a total jump scare for anyone not paying attention. The Traint reveals its true face with those glowing red eyes. It looks terrifying, but Yukito is already drawing his blade. He lunges forward with a look of pure focus. That silver sword is glowing blue as he readies a massive swing. The blade connects with a satisfying crack as wood splinters everywhere. That's a direct hit if I've ever seen one. A massive vertical pillar of light slices the monster in half. Another critical hit pops up because of course it does. He stands in the aftermath, totally unfazed. As long as he keeps his eyes open for sneak attacks, these things are just fodder to him. Something catches his eye in the grass. Is that what I think it is? Jackpot. A miracle fruit drops on his very first kill. The RNG gods aren't just smiling on him, they're basically handing him the keys to the castle. He picks up the glowing red fruit and takes a big bite. He looks like he's forcing it down, so it must not be a 5-star meal. He swallows it and admits it tastes like a bland apple. Hey, if it makes you stronger, you don't eat it for the flavor. He brings up his status screen immediately to see the results. This is the moment every gamer lives for. There it is. His strength stat ticks up by 1. It might not seem like much, but it's a huge step toward not being a glass cannon. He realizes that with his luck, he can turn these rare drops into a regular farm. Even with trash stats, he's found the ultimate loophole to get strong. And then the real grind begins. He spent the next few hours turning that forest into a wasteland of chopped wood. It's a montage of absolute destruction. Trans are getting sliced left and right, and miracle fruits are falling like rain. Chibi Yukito takes a break to munch on his lunchbox. After eating dozens of those weird fruits, a normal sandwich probably feels like a gourmet feast. He checks his progress and realizes he's finally reached the growth limit for this area. You can't just farm the starting zone forever, buddy. Take a look at those blue bars. He's level 23 now, and his stats are finally looking like a respectable warrior. He stretches out, feeling good about a hard day's work. Time to pack it up and head home, or so he thought. Suddenly, a blur of motion zips past his head. Someone just tried to take a shot at him when he was least expecting it. He spins around instantly, hand on his sword, and asks who's there. Yeah, I'd be on edge too after that near miss. This shady-looking guy leaps out of the shadows, talking trash about monopolizing the hunting grounds. Looks like some unwanted guests have arrived. 2 more wanderers show up, looking like they just crawled out of a back alley. They're basically illegal dungeon looters who prey on solo players. Yukito stays calm, noticing they don't have adventurer cards. These guys aren't heroes, they're just common criminals looking for an easy score. The short-hooded guy smirks, calling Yukito a rich boy who's just relying on his expensive gear. They have no idea who they're dealing with. The big creep with the yellow tooth leans in close with a terrifying look. He tells Yukito to hand over all that high-tier equipment if he wants to keep his life. A quick reminder from the system, crawler wanderers are dangerous criminals who commit crimes deep in the dungeons where nobody is watching. Big mistake to let your guard down here. A close-up of Yukito's eye shows he's not scared at all. He knew guys like this existed, but he didn't expect to run into them so soon. The wanderers keep taunting him, trying to bait him into a fight. They think he's just a scared kid about to wet his pants. Yukito just looks over his shoulder with a look of pure boredom, telling them how ridiculous they are and basically saying they're wasting his time. He turns around with a cold, piercing gaze that would make a demon sweat. He tells them straight up, he doesn't have a single thing to spare for trash like them. That really hit a nerve. The wanderers are absolutely fuming, veins popping in their faces as they realize they aren't getting a free payday. The big guy pulls his sword and screams that he's just going to kill Yukito and take everything. Talk about 0 to 60 real fast. The hooded mage guy starts charging up his staff, looking ready to blast our hero into next week. The 2 criminals charge forward together. It's 2 against 1, and they think they've got the upper hand. Yukito digs his heel into the ground, ready to launch. This isn't a retreat, he's winding up for something big. He dashes forward so fast he's basically a blur, slipping right past the big guy's attack. He goes straight for the mage first, because that's adventuring 101. The criminal looks terrified as Yukito closes the gap in a split second. He activates Migsati, Layer Strike. His sword erupts in a massive wave of blue energy that lights up the whole forest. The big guy with the gold tooth spins around, laughing his head off. He thinks that skill is trash because of its 70% miss rate. Clearly, he hasn't seen Yukito's luck stat. He counters with his own skill, BEIM Saw B Sting Strike. His sword glows yellow as he prepares a supposedly perfect hit attack. Yukito leaps high into the air, his glowing blue blade clashing against the criminal's yellow sword. It's a high-stakes duel, but my money is on the guy with the 9999 luck. Yukito is mid-air, silver sword glowing with blue energy as he clashes with the big guy's yellow blade. Talk about a high-stakes duel. The swords collide and we see a bad hit marker pop up. Looks like the criminal's attack didn't land quite as perfectly as he hoped. Look at the shock on Goldtooth's face. He can't believe there's 0 resistance to his strike. The dude is literally sweating bullets now. A massive Yule Timate marker pops on screen as Yukito's silver blade sends the big guy flying like a ragdoll. That's one way to end an argument. The mage is absolutely bugging out in the background as a literal shockwave of blue energy erupts from the impact. He's starting to realize they picked a fight with the wrong guy. Close up on Goldtooth getting absolutely wrecked. His helmet's gone and he's coughing up blood. Man, that had to hurt. And he's down for the count. Yamada is face first in the dirt, completely out of commission while his helmet rolls away in shame. The mage is losing his mind, clutching his staff and sweating. He's doing the math and can't believe a skill with only a 30% success rate just obliterated his partner. Yukito stands there, shadows over his eyes looking cold as ice. He just drops a single word, N-O-W. He's standing tall and looking like a total boss with a new staff in hand, asking if it's one-on-one now. Yeah, buddy, and you're next. Close up on our hero looking calm and collected despite the sweat. He's definitely got something else up his sleeve. Check out that green eye. He's thinking to himself that everything is activating exactly the way it's supposed to. Here's the breakdown. That bee-sting strike Yamada used was a level 25 skill. Yukito was basically facing a high-ranked opponent without breaking a sweat. It's a perfect hit skill that cuts your own attack power by 30% to guarantee a hit. Too bad for him, Yukito's got a workaround for everything. It's all thanks to the silver slime's tears coating his clothes. It reduces damage by half with a high probability. This man is basically unkillable at this point. Because of his gear, he only took about 30% of the total damage. A bad hit marker is basically music to his ears. Yukito keeps it real. If his luck hadn't saved him, he'd probably have a hole in his stomach right now. Good thing he's the luckiest man alive. The mage is officially terrified, unable to believe Yamada was taken down in one hit. Yeah, welcome to the show, pal. Yukito offers him a deal. Surrender now and he might just forgive him. He's way more merciful than I would be. The mage isn't having it, charging up a fireball and screaming not to underestimate him. He thinks being a ranged fighter gives him the edge. Yukito just stares him down, telling him it's impossible to even get close. He's got zero fear of a little fire. The mage is laughing now, thinking he's caught Yukito giving up. He's got a massive fireball ready to launch. Yukito says of course not, reaching into his inventory like he's just grabbing a soda. He pulls out a staff and gets ready to switch things up, telling the mage he's just going to use this staff. He reveals a staff covered in sunflowers and cherry blossoms. This thing looks like it belongs in a garden, not a dungeon fight. A close-up of the flower staff shows it's honestly kind of pretty, but definitely not what you'd expect a high-level warrior to carry. The mage is literally laughing his head off at the flower stick. He thinks Yukito has finally lost his mind. He mocks Yukito, asking if he even knows what that ridiculous thing is. Big mistake, buddy. Yukito doesn't blink, telling him yes, it's the random staff. He found it on a treant that didn't drop any fruit. It's surrounded by floating question marks and glowing symbols. This is about to get weird. The mage just calls him an amateur. He clearly thinks he knows more about the game than our hero. The system confirms it's technically a rare item, but it's mostly considered unstable garbage because it activates random magic. Check out this review. Even the player forums call it garbage known throughout the world. Nobody uses this thing because it's too unreliable. Look at these odds, a 40% chance of total failure and only a tiny 9% chance for intermediate magic. It's a literal gamble every time you use it. The mage thinks Yukito got lucky with his sword move, but his luck won't work twice on a completely random selection. Yukito holds the staff high as magical circles start spinning. He knows it's impossible to coax the desired magic. Well, normally it is. The mage isn't waiting around, charging up an intermediate magic fireball. That orb of fire looks seriously intense. He's bragging that even if Yukito hits that 9% chance, his own fireball is stronger thanks to his plus 50 magic power gear. This guy talks a big game. Look at that creepy grin. He's already celebrating a win he hasn't even earned yet. He tells Yukito his beginner's luck ends here. Man, I hope he likes the taste of his own words. He launches the fireball with a shout to take this. It's a massive ball of flame screaming across the clearing. The smoke clears and Yukito is just standing there. He's totally unharmed and looks bored as he says it finally came out. He's winking and looks ready for business, saying he's ready too. Here comes the pain. The flower staff is glowing with insane intensity, rainbow symbols flying everywhere. This isn't beginner magic. A small fireball starts to form, but it's immediately glitched out by rainbow energy. Something big is coming. Holy crap, a massive meteor just appeared in the sky. The random staff really pulled through. The ground is literally cracking under Yukito's feet from the pressure. That massive flaming rock is about to ruin someone's day. Yukito points the flower staff towards the sky, controlling a literal planet killer. This is absolute insanity. A close-up of our hero's face, lit up by the orange glow of the meteor. He looks like a god of destruction right now. The meteor slams down and everything goes white. The sheer scale of the explosion is terrifying. Rocks are flying and fire is everywhere. It's total, unmitigated destruction. The mage is blown away by the shockwave, screaming about his fireball. Yeah, I think your fireball just got outclassed, buddy. He's in total shock, realizing drawing meteor is advanced magic with a probability of basically 0. Well, for normal people anyway. A massive wall of fire and glowing symbols fills the panel. It looks like a scene from the end of the world. The mage is trying to lie to himself, screaming that it must be illusion magic. Sorry, pal, that heat is 100% real. Look at his face. He's realizing exactly how screwed he is. The fire is reflecting in his wide, terrified eyes. Direct hit. A massive pillar of fire swallows the mage whole while he screams his lungs out. Close-up of his final scream as he's caught in the blast. That's a rough way to go. And, oh man, he literally peed his pants from fear right before he got toasted. Talk about an embarrassing way to die. The fire keeps raging, turning the forest floor into a literal oven. Take a look at that crater. It looks like a small nuke went off. The forest is just gone. The mage is lying face down in the smoking ruins, totally burnt and crispy. He's still groaning, so he might actually still be alive somehow. Yukito looks at the random staff, and it's snapped in half. I guess advanced magic is too much for a literal stick. He looks a bit thoughtful, maybe wondering if he went a little too hard on those guys. He just tosses the broken staff over his shoulder and walks away, offering a casual apology. He's so nonchalant about it, it's cold. He stands there in the smoke looking like a total legend, admitting that he's super lucky. Yeah, no kidding, buddy, you just broke the game. Yukito stands amidst the smoking crater of his own making, looking back at the two defeated wanderers. He's managed to secure the win, but the work isn't quite over yet. He looks down at the charred remains of the mage and the bruised gold-tooth guy. Even though they're criminals, he knows he can't just leave them to rot in the middle of the dungeon. It's definitely a hassle, but he decides he has to carry these two back to the surface to face justice. He looks up at the sky, already dreading the long trek back with 2 extra bodies to drag. In this adorable chibi panel, Yukito gets to work tying the criminals up tight. He's not taking any chances of them waking up and trying something sneaky on the way out. He stands over the now hogtied duo with a look of satisfaction, thinking that should do it. He's ready to finally put this encounter behind him. We get a cute loading screen showing Chibi Yukito moving from the 5th floor all the way back up to the 1st. He's got the 2 packages in tow, making slow but steady progress. By the time he makes it back to the city, it's already dark out. He hands the 2 wanderers over to the police, who look pretty surprised to see a rookie hauling in 2 high-value targets. Yukito is absolutely drained after giving his statement to the cops. He's rubbing the back of his neck, just wanting to head home and crash after a very long day. The next morning, Yukito heads back to the Adventurers Guild to report the incident. He's looking a bit more refreshed as he walks through those sliding doors. The receptionist immediately spots him and calls out his name. It looks like word travels fast when you capture a pair of notorious criminals. She gives him a friendly salute and tells him they've already heard everything from the police. It's rare for a rookie to make such a big splash on their first real hunt. She starts ringing a golden bell and cheering, congratulating him. This is a huge deal, and she's making sure everyone in the guild knows it. She presents a tray with a brand new Silver Adventurers tag. Promotions are usually a massive grind, so this is an incredible achievement for someone who just started. Yukito is totally stunned, staring at the silver tag with wide eyes and asking if there isn't some mistake. He clearly didn't expect to rank up this fast. The system explains that promotion to silver rank is incredibly difficult. Even for the most talented individuals, it usually takes at least 3 years of constant effort. Normally, you have to submit specific rare items and defeat powerful monsters to prove you're worthy. It's a long, dangerous road that most adventurers never finish. On top of that, you have to make significant contributions to the guild's safety and reputation. It's safe to say Yukito just skipped a lot of homework. The receptionist confirms it's an official decision from the higher-ups. It turns out the 2 guys he captured were members of the notorious Red Bull Gang. The Red Bull Gang is a widely known antisocial organization that's been causing trouble for years. By taking them out, Yukito basically did the guild a massive favor. She's genuinely impressed that he managed to defeat them solo. Most veterans wouldn't even want to cross paths with those guys. She drops the real bombshell. Both of those criminals had skills equivalent to a silver rank adventurer. Yukito starts sweating, realizing he was in more danger than he thought. He thinks back to the fight and realizes those guys were actually pretty formidable. If he hadn't had his broken luck and S-rank gear, things could have gone very differently. He sheepishly takes the silver tag, trying to play it cool. He says he was just lucky, which is technically 100% true. The receptionist tells him there's no need to be modest because he's officially a silver rank now. She's already looking forward to seeing him explore beyond the beginner floors. The system shows the floor restrictions. Bronze can only go to B10, but silver can dive all the way down to B30. This rank up just opened a lot of doors for his mission. Yukito fastens the silver tag around his neck, finally accepting his new status. He understands and is already planning his next move. He tells the receptionist he plans to explore at least up to the 20th floor next. He's got his sights set on that ancient golem and the elixir. She promises to support him as much as she can, but she gives him a serious warning. The 20th floor is known as a high difficulty area that shouldn't be taken lightly. She emphasizes that she really wouldn't recommend trying to solo a place like that. Even for a silver rank, the monsters down there are on a whole different level. Yukito gives a polite bow and thanks her for the advice. He knows she's right, but he also knows he has an advantage no one else can see. He turns and walks through the guild hall, feeling the weight of the new tag. Things are moving way faster than they did in his first life. He reflects on how getting involved with those wanderers actually turned out to be a stroke of good luck. He's ranked up months earlier than he planned. Suddenly, a voice calls out to excuse them from behind him. He stops in his tracks, wondering if someone else is looking for a fight. An old man dressed in a formal suit and top hat approaches him. He looks like a gentleman from a different era, leaning heavily on a cane. He asks Yukito if he's the adventurer who defeated those criminals recently. The old man looks incredibly intense, waiting for an answer. A wanted poster on the wall shows the faces of Junpei Yamada and Hiroshi Hashimoto. They were wanted for robbery and murder, with a hefty reward on their heads. Yukito simply explains that they attacked him first, so he had no choice but to fight back. He's trying to stay modest about the whole thing. The old man's expression softens as he hears the confirmation. You can see the grief and relief fighting for space on his face. He suddenly grabs Yukito's hands with surprising strength and cries out his thanks. He's trembling with emotion, totally overwhelming our hero. Yukito is completely caught off guard, sweating a bit as he tries to process the sudden outburst, only managing a confused sound. The old man explains that those men were the ones who killed his son. He crumples the wanted poster in his hand, a lifetime of anger finally finding a release. He tells Yukito that he captured criminals that even the police couldn't touch. For a grieving father, this is the justice he's been waiting for. Yukito tries to downplay it, saying he was just doing his duty as an adventurer. He's still not used to being treated like a hero. The old man gives a deep, respectful bow, his voice thick with gratitude. It's a powerful moment of recognition for a job well done. We get a close-up of Yukito's eye as he watches the old man. This kind of interaction is completely new to him. The old man sheds a tear of relief, saying he can finally give a good report at his son's grave. The closure Yukito provided is worth more than any silver tag. As the old man walks away, Yukito reflects on his previous life. He spent 85 years grinding in the shadows and was never thanked by anyone, not even once. He looks down at his hand, a small smile finally reaching his face. He thinks to himself that honestly, it doesn't feel bad, but his thoughts quickly turn back to the future. He knows that at this rate, the world is destined for destruction by the time he would have been an old man. He wonders if he should use his knowledge of the future to intervene in bigger events. He's carrying the weight of the entire world on his shoulders now. He quickly shakes the thought out of his head, calling himself a slime guy for getting ahead of himself. He knows he's not a savior yet. He rubs his hair, trying to snap out of the heavy mood. He needs to stay focused on what's right in front of him. He clenches his fist with new determination. First, he needs to save Mom. That's the top priority. He walks out into the sunlight, ready to take on the 20th floor and whatever else the dungeon throws at him. The scene shifts to a dark, dingy hideout. A variety of sharp knives and tools are spread out on a rough stone table, lit by a single lantern. A massive, muscled fist slams down on the table, rattling all the gear. He screams in frustration. Someone is seriously pissed off. The leader of the gang can't believe Yamada and Hashimoto were taken down by a single rookie. He's sitting in the shadows, fuming over the loss of his men. He's worried that if they don't strike back, they won't be able to set an example for other adventurers. Fear is their biggest weapon, and it's being challenged. He also knows that without the tribute they were supposed to collect, he's going to have a hard time answering to the higher-ups. The pressure is coming from both sides. He reaches out a steady hand and picks up a curved, wickedly sharp knife. This guy looks like he knows exactly how to use it. He looks at a report featuring a photo of Yukito and spits the name out like a curse. Yukito Takahashi. He stabs the knife right through Yukito's photo, pinning it to the table and vowing to definitely kill him. Looks like our hero just made a very dangerous enemy. We get a close-up of his bloodshot, glowing red eye. This guy is pure malice, and he's completely focused on revenge. His other eye narrows as he stares at the target. He's not just angry, he's calculating his next move. He says he won't let his guard down, picking up another blade. He's not going to make the same mistake his underlings did. He reads through the report, noting that Yukito defeated both Yamada and Hashimoto 2-on-1. He's smart enough to recognize a threat when he sees one. He stands up, looking even more imposing in the dark room. He acknowledges that Yukito is quite strong for a rookie. He grabs a white hood and starts to put it on, muttering that there are always ways to deal with this. The leader smirks as he pulls the hood over his head, his eyes glinting in the dark. He tells Yukito it was unfortunate for him to catch his attention, and just like that, the next arc begins. Yukito has moved up to the 15th floor, the lonely mountain peak of empty pride. It's a massive, rocky expanse that looks like a total nightmare to navigate, but for our boy, it's just another day at the office. The paths here are winding and narrow, with treacherous terrain that could send a rookie falling to their doom. Yukito's got his hiking boots on, ready to trek through the dangerous mountain soil. Group exploration is a massive pain in the neck here because of how cramped the paths are. He watches another group decide to split up, confirming that going solo is actually the smarter move for once. Yukito checks his guide and notes that the 15th floor is a notorious hotbed for crime since it's so easy to stay hidden from others. He's basically walking into a lawless wasteland, and honestly, he looks like he's looking forward to it. He wastes no time and slams his silver greatsword into a monster, sending rocks and dirt flying everywhere. This dude doesn't just hunt, he renovates the landscape. He continues his solo grind, moving effortlessly across the steep cliffs. If you're going to level up fast, this kind of rugged environment is exactly what the doctor ordered. Yukito thinks this is the perfect stage for a solo hunter like himself. No teammates to slow him down or steal his loot? Yeah, that's the dream. He grips his sword tighter as he feels the weight of the task ahead. He knows he needs to push himself if he wants to be ready for the challenges waiting on the 20th floor. A massive bird monster dives from the clear blue sky, screeching as it targets our hero. Yukito braces himself, knowing every kill brings him closer to that elusive elixir. He meets the bird mid-air with a powerful vertical slash. His timing is impeccable, turning a surprise attack into a quick payday. In this cute chibi flashback, we see Yukito had a blast hunting silver slimes for easy XP. It was a sweet deal while it lasted, but even the luckiest guy can't avoid a respawn timer. He hunted so many of them that they actually stopped appearing entirely. Now he's stuck in an empty field, wondering where his easy levels went. Talk about a victim of your own success. Back in the present, he clangs his blade against a horned, rhino-like monster. With the slimes gone, he has no choice but to grind through the masses the old-fashioned way. Yukito's eyes narrow with total focus as he gets ready to unleash a flurry of attacks. He's done playing around. He goes on a total rampage, taking down a massive boulder monster and a ferocious brown bear in a matter of seconds. This isn't a grind, it's a speedrun. The loot screens are popping up faster than he can read them. It looks like his insane luck stat is still working overtime today. He's acquired a mountain of new gear, including a legendary bow and some high-tier gauntlets. At this rate, he's going to need a bigger inventory bag by lunchtime. Yukito stands in a crater of his own making, reflecting on his current build. He's got that massive silver slime greatsword, but he's still rocking absolutely zero armor. Talk about living life on the edge. But wait, he's not as alone as he thinks. Hidden in the shadows of the rocks, that tan-skinned gang leader is watching him like a hawk, confirming he's found Yukito Takahashi. The leader is absolutely fuming, biting his thumb in frustration as he watches from cover. He thinks Yukito is completely underestimating him by stepping into his territory like he owns the place. He decides to play the long game, realizing there's no point in a direct head-on attack right now. He's going to wait for the perfect moment when Yukito finally lets his guard down. Yukito leaps down a massive cliff, totally unaware that he's being stalked. The leader stays tucked away in a rocky crevice, tracking his every move. Night falls over the dungeon, and Yukito sets up a small camp with a roaring fire. Even from deep within a nearby cave, the leader is still keeping a cold, watchful eye on him. In this chibi panel, the leader is working his brain overtime to come up with a scheme. He realizes Yukito is planning to camp out on this floor for a while, giving him plenty of time to set a trap. A light bulb goes off as the chibi leader gets a good plan. He's looking pretty smug about whatever evil plot he's just cooked up. He decides a guy as strong as Yukito isn't worth dealing with in a fair fight. Direct confrontation is for losers. He's going for something much messier. The leader sprints off through the mountains under a blood-red moon. It's time to use his home advantage to turn the entire dungeon floor against our hero. Check out that creepy grin. This guy is definitely plotting something that's going to end in a whole lot of blood and chaos. He starts thinking about the local ecosystem, represented by a pyramid with birds on top, mantises in the middle, and rats at the bottom. Time for some unnatural selection. He spots a nest with a bird monster and its chick, looking all peaceful. Too bad for them, they're part of his master plan to reduce the predators. He goes on an absolute slaughter, wiping out the local bird population in a flurry of blades. Without the birds to hunt them, the insect population is about to explode. He stands over a dark pit full of insect-like prey, ready for the next phase, increase the prey. This is about to get disgusting. He dumps a massive bag of food into the pit, and a swarm of green mantis monsters starts feasting. He's basically farming a monster stampede. In the darkness of the pit, you can see hundreds of glowing red eyes. The insects are multiplying at an unnatural speed, filling the air with the sound of skittering legs. They're reproducing and swarming over each other in a frantic, hungry mess. This guy is literally engineering an ecological collapse just to kill one dude. The ecosystem pyramid crumbles as the bottom layer completely overruns the mountain. It's a literal swarm waiting to be unleashed. The leader sits back in his cave, watching the clock. He thinks it should be about time. The countdown to chaos has begun. He grips his curved knife, looking ready to finish the job himself if the monsters don't. He's put a lot of work into this accident. He steps out of the cave and into the light, looking totally confident. He wants this to look like a common accident caused by an unlucky adventurer. The plan is to trigger a monster panic, a massive, unstoppable stampede of magical beasts. It's the ultimate way to hide a murder. He stands on the edge of a cliff, watching the mountainside come alive with movement. This way, he gets his revenge without attracting any heat from the authorities. He smirks, holding a bag of C-rank insect repellent powder. This little reagent is his get-out-of-jail-free card to walk through the swarm safely. He sprinkles the brown powder all over himself as he prepares to lead the charge, all according to plan. The leader shouts for that damn guy as the massive swarm of winged insects begins to rush past him. He's literally in the eye of the storm. He stands surrounded by a terrifying red and white blur of insects. He's practically begging the swarm to devour him completely, talking about Yukito, of course. Close up on his manic, evil face as the plan goes live. He looks like a total psycho, and honestly, I love that for him. Meanwhile, Yukito is still out there grinding, slicing through a boar monster with a casual shout. He has no idea the entire floor is coming for his head. Suddenly, he stops. He hears a faint, distant buzzing sound that's getting louder by the second. He looks around the empty valley, giving a confused hum and wondering where that weird noise is coming from. That's the sound of your weekend getting ruined, buddy. He looks up and sees a massive, dark cloud rolling over the mountainside. That ain't rain, folks. The realization hits him like a truck as he stares at the sky, realizing that's a cloud of monsters. It's a monster panic, a swarm of thousands of death hoverflies. This is basically a flying meat grinder heading straight for him. Yukito grips his greatsword, his face slick with sweat. He knows this is impossible to handle alone, even with his broken luck. He turns tail and starts a high-speed sprint as the first wave of the swarm begins to descend. Time to move. He needs to find other adventurers or a solid piece of cover, fast. He's running along the narrow cliffside while the swarm closes in behind him. Close up on his green eye as he tries to search through his memories. He's looking for a lifeline from his 85 years of experience. He remembers his older self hearing rumors about this floor in his previous life. There was supposed to be a hidden supply base somewhere around here. He remembers hearing other adventurers talking about a red soil cave that made exploring this treacherous floor way easier. That's his destination. He frantically checks his map, looking confused because that base wasn't in any of the official guides. It's a secret base for a reason, I guess. He finally spots an area with distinct reddish-brown soil, thinking he doesn't have time to get lost. It's now or never. Yukito locks onto the cave entrance with a look of pure determination. He's not planning on being a hoverfly's dinner today. He uses his massive greatsword to smash through some obstructing rocks while leaping through the air. This guy is a human wrecking ball. He slices through a giant, tongue-lashing frog monster that was blocking the path. Get out of the way, Kermit. There's a stampede coming. He touches the cave wall and confirms the soil color is different. This has to be the hidden red soil cave. He shouts into the darkness, declaring a monster panic emergency and asking them to please cooperate. He's hoping there's a team inside that can help him hold the line. There's absolute silence from the cave entrance. It looks empty, but something tells me he's not going to like what he finds inside. He hears the buzzing of the swarm getting deafeningly loud. They're right on his heels. He shouts that he's going in even if he has to force his way, readying his blade for one last strike to clear the path. He smashes through a hidden barrier or door into the depths of the cave. That's a loud way to say hello. Inside, he finds a horrifying sight. Dozens of people are tied up and unconscious on the cave floor. This isn't a supply base, it's a dungeon-side prison. Yukito stands there in total shock, sweating as the magnitude of the situation hits him. He was looking for safety, but he just stumbled into the middle of a massive crime scene. Yukito looks down at a bunch of people tied up and gagged on the cave floor. They're looking pretty pathetic, and muffled sounds are the only thing coming out of them. Instead of panicking, Yukito just gives them a cheeky grin. He asks if they have some kind of weird hobby, which is a pretty cold joke considering they're literal prisoners. The prisoners are shaking their heads like crazy, looking absolutely done with his sense of humor. They're trying to scream through their gags that this is definitely not a hobby. Yukito finally gets the hint and draws a small dagger to help them out. He says he sees, finally realizing that he's actually found a group of victims. He makes quick work of the ropes, slicing through them with total precision. The prisoners finally have a chance to breathe as the bindings fall away. A close-up of the rope snapping shows this is the first bit of freedom these guys have seen in a long time. Yukito isn't just a monster hunter, he's a rescue party of one. The blonde guy is practically crying with relief, thanking his lucky stars he's not dead. He thought he was done for until Yukito crashed the party. Yukito puts his hand behind his head, acting all casual about saving a room full of people. He asks them the obvious question, what exactly happened here? This big, burly guy explains that they were ambushed by a bunch of wanderers. Apparently, the criminals used some kind of status ailment item to knock them out before they could even fight back. The ginger guy realizes that since they weren't killed immediately, the criminals were probably planning to sell them off. Human trafficking in a dungeon. Yeah, these wanderers are definitely the lowest of the low. Yukito takes a look around the cave, realizing he stumbled into a secret criminal headquarters. It's a lot more crowded and depressing than he expected. He stands there with his arms crossed, deep in thought. He's wondering why this place isn't a supply point for adventurers yet like it was in his first life. Wait, it hits him like a ton of bricks. A little sweat drop appears as he realizes something might be seriously off with his timeline. He remembers that in the original timeline, authorities weren't supposed to raid this place and arrest the wanderers until the near future. He's basically arrived at the crime scene before the cops even got the call. He gives a sly little smirk, realizing he's discovered this place way before it was historically relevant. Being a regressor means you're always the first one to the party. Check out this chibi flashback. He spent 70 years just grinding slimes, so he's admitting he was a bit out of touch with world events. In another adorable chibi panel, he laughs off the discrepancy. To him, being 40 or 50 years off is just a margin of error. Yeah, okay, buddy, tell that to the timeline. He shakes it off, deciding that the analysis can wait for later. Right now, he's hearing that buzzing sound again, and it's getting way too close for comfort. He peeks out from the cave with a serious look in his eye. He's tracking the movement of the swarm, and it looks like things are about to get messy. The prisoners are all staring at him, wondering what's going on. The atmosphere in the cave just went from "we're saved" to "we're in trouble" real fast. Yukito clenches his fist, glowing with a bit of energy. He's got that main character look again, ready to step up and lead. The redhead looks at her teammate, realizing the situation is still dire. They might be untied, but they're still trapped in a cave with a monster stampede outside. Yukito cups his hands around his mouth and shouts for everyone to listen up. He knows they don't have much time before the guests arrive. He points outside toward the horizon where the sky is literally turning black, warning them that a huge swarm of death hoppers is approaching right now. Talk about some bad news. The swarm is absolutely massive, a literal river of red and black flying monsters. If those things get into the cave, it's game over for everyone. The survivors are losing their minds, asking in shock if all of those are death hoppers. Yeah, and they look like they skipped breakfast. A total panic breaks out as they realize a monster panic is happening. This poor girl is terrified because there are way too many of them to fight off. Yukito keeps it real with them. They don't have much time to cry about it. He looks focused and ready to brawl, even if no one else is. He stands tall in the center of the cave and drops the ultimatum: if you want to survive, cooperate with me. He's the only one with a weapon, so he's the boss now. The guys look at each other, realizing that outrunning that many monsters is physically impossible. They have to make a stand right here. This girl points out the glaring problem. It's impossible because they don't have any weapons or armor. They're basically just meat shields at this point. The guy with the gray hair throws his hands up, reminding everyone that the Wanderers stripped them of everything. Fighting a swarm with your bare hands is a one-way trip to the graveyard. Yukito just gives them a confident, almost villainous smirk. He tells them he has equipment, and you just know he's about to drop a jackpot. He brings up his inventory screen and starts swiping through it like he's on a shopping spree. His fingers are moving so fast, they're a blur. He says he has more than enough and starts dumping a literal mountain of gear onto the cave floor. Swords, bows, shields. It's like a medieval armory just exploded. The survivors are staring at the pile of loot with sparkles in their eyes. Yukito tells them to use whatever they like. Man, talk about a legendary giveaway. He goes even further, telling them he'll transfer ownership to them if they want. He's being insanely generous, but hey, he needs a functional army. The big bearded guy is absolutely stunned. He can't believe that all these high-tier items are just drops from this floor. Yukito's luck is genuinely terrifying. The redhead and her friend are staring at the gear like they've won the lottery, asking how he collected so many. Simple, he's got a cheat code called +9999 luck. Yukito just gives them a satisfied look. He's seeing these people transform from victims into a real fighting force right before his eyes. He watches them kit themselves out, thinking about how he's never seen these guys in the top rankings before. In his previous life, they were probably just names on a casualty list. The guys are fighting over the loot. One grabs a sword while the other settles for a spear. It's like a Black Friday sale, but with life or death stakes. The girls are hyped too. One is admiring a breastplate that fits perfectly, while the other reminds everyone that armor is way more important than just having a big sword. The blonde guy is fully geared up in blue and gold armor, looking like a total knight. He realizes this set could sell for a literal fortune, but right now, it's his only hope. The girl in the glasses asks if he's really just giving these away. Yukito just smiles and says, of course, like he didn't just hand over millions of yen in gear. He raises a finger to get their attention. Now that they look like adventurers again, it's time to talk strategy. Yukito gets a serious look on his face as he prepares to give the orders. He's about to turn this ragtag group of survivors into an elite unit. The blonde guy looks at the archer girl and asks for her opinion. She's totally down for the plan, saying it sounds good since Yukito already saved their lives once. The group is fully united now, all geared up and ready for war. They note that he gave them equipment too, and they're feeling a lot more confident with some steel on their chests. The archer girl draws her bow, looking fierce and ready to rain down arrows. She says she'll follow his instructions. It's official, Yukito is the commander. The bearded warrior is fired up, shouting that he's not going to become monster fodder. He looks ready to rip some bugheads off. Yukito looks at the group and is genuinely moved by their resolve. He says, everyone with a look of pride, this is a big step up from his solo grind. We get a gritty flashback of other adventurers fighting and dying. This is what usually happens in a monster panic, but Yukito is determined to change the script. He clenches his jaw, his eyes glowing with green intensity. He's taking this personally now, and he's not going to let a single one of them die. The blonde guy gives a final thank you to Yukito. You can really feel the gratitude. This guy went from a naked prisoner to a knight in 5 minutes. Yukito gives a small, humble smile. He's still not used to being the hero, but he's starting to get the hang of it. He snaps back into commander mode, his eyes sharp. No more time for sentimental stuff, the enemy is at the door. He points toward the cave entrance, and you can see the speed lines as he directs his team. It's time to move into position. He stands at the mouth of the cave and tells everyone to use the narrowness to their advantage. It's the classic bottleneck strategy, straight out of the 300 playbook. A tactical diagram pops up showing their formation. By holding the narrow tunnel, they only have to face a few monsters at a time instead of being swarmed in the open. Yukito shouts to focus on reducing their numbers as the first few Death Hoppers start to enter the cave. He's leading from the front, silver sword ready. The swordsman in the black and silver armor looks intense and focused. He's taking his position on the line, ready to prove he's worth the gear he was given. The mage girl gives a firm nod, clutching her staff tight. She's scared, but she's not backing down. Not today. Yukito gives one last confident smirk, his eyes glowing with that signature main character light. He knows they've got this. The battle begins. Yukito stands at the head of his new squad as they prepare to meet the swarm. It's time to see if 9999 luck can win a war. One bug down, about 1,000 more to go. Yukito's literal first step into this fight is crushing a monster under his sneaker. He's slicing through them like butter, but the numbers are just insane. Every time he swings that silver greatsword, blue energy slashes clear the air, but the swarm just keeps coming. It's a total war zone in this tunnel. You've got fireballs flying, swords clashing, and glowing blue slashes everywhere. It's chaotic, to say the least. The others are holding the line too. That purple-cloaked mage just dropped a mana blast to clear a path, but the bugs are filling it in instantly like a liquid. Look at the size of that swarm from the outside. It's not just a cloud, it's a literal river of red death pouring down the mountainside. One big bug gets a face full of falling ceiling. I guess even the mountain is tired of these pests today. The swarm is absolutely relentless, pouring into the cave mouth like floodwater. This bottleneck is the only reason they haven't been eaten alive yet. The black-armored warrior is sweating bullets, shouting that there are just too many of them. Yeah, no kidding, buddy, it's like a bug-themed nightmare in here. The red-armored guy is losing hope too, screaming that there's no end to the swarm. They're running out of room and fast. Yukito's still swinging, but he knows this isn't getting them anywhere. You can't win a war of attrition against 10,000 bugs. Close up on our hero looking intense. He's sweating, but he's not scared. He's looking for a workaround to break this stalemate. Suddenly, the whole cave starts shaking. Rocks are falling from the ceiling as it starts to collapse under the pressure of the swarm outside. Yukito barks out the order to retreat without breaking formation. Huge boulders are slamming into the ground right where they were standing. Everyone's scrambling back into the deeper parts of the cave. This place is about to become a tomb if they don't find an exit pronto. The group looks up in horror as the bugs literally start eating through the mountain rock. They're losing ground and the ceiling is practically made of monsters now. Yukito is scanning the area, his brain working overtime. He needs a miracle, or at least a really big explosion. He spots something interesting, an unstable, abandoned mine shaft that was left incomplete. Now we're talking. Bingo. He finds a crate of explosives. Looks like the Wanderers were planning to expand their base and left some toys behind. He grabs a stick of red dynamite. The system tags it as poor quality, but for Yukito, that's just a challenge. He shouts to the rest of the group that if they find any dynamite, they should pick it up. He's ready to turn this cave into a giant trap. The adventurers start scavenging, looking a bit skeptical about using old dynamite as a weapon. Hey, beggars can't be choosers when you're being hunted by giant locusts. A close-up of a hand grabbing another stick shows every little bit helps when you're planning a mountain-sized demolition. The battle drags on for several hours as they slowly fall back. It's a grueling, exhausting fight for every inch of rock. The damage is insane. 2/3 of Triangle Mountain has basically been chewed away or blown up. It looks like a jagged skeleton of a peak now. The survivors are finally backed into a literal corner. There's nowhere left to run, and the swarm is right in front of them. The red armor guy collapses, panting that he's completely out of stamina. The healers are working overtime, but they're hitting their limit too. Yukito gazes down the dark tunnel at the sea of glowing eyes. This is the moment where most people would say their prayers. He closes his eyes for a second, sweat dripping down his face. He knows what he has to do. Yeah, he's definitely about to do something crazy. He gets everyone's attention with one final shout. It's go time. He tells them to give him all their dynamite. He looks like a madman, but he's the only one with a plan left. The bearded warrior tosses a bundle over, warning him that it won't be enough to kill the whole swarm. He thinks Yukito is just throwing a Hail Mary. The archer girl adds hers to the pile, saying it's like a drop in the ocean. They have zero faith in the kaboom strategy. Yukito catches them and just gives a cool, that's okay. He's not planning to hit the bugs, he's planning to hit the mountain. Close-up of that intense green eye. He's calculating the threat levels and the structural integrity of the cave. He's not guessing, he's analyzing. He pulls up his inventory screen and dumps all 13 sticks of dynamite into a single stack. It's a high-risk, high-reward move. He places the charge at a structural weak point. Since he's got the most kills, the monsters are naturally aggroed onto him. The redhead warrior panics as the ceiling starts to groan, screaming that the hole is about to collapse. The blonde guy screams for everyone to run as the entire cave mouth starts to cave in. The team is screaming as they run, thinking Yukito is planning to take the bugs down with a suicide blast. They really don't know who they're dealing with. Yukito looks over his shoulder with that signature smirk, telling them to trust him. Those are the most dangerous words in a dungeon. He stands alone as the massive wave of bugs looms over him, thinking there are times in life when you have to take risks. Close up on his eyes as the blue system light reflects off them. He's completely calm in the face of certain death. He figures that time is now. The screen is filled with a bright digital glow as the plan goes live. His finger hovers over the YES button on the prompt to use all 13 dynamite sticks at once. Talk about a big red button moment. He clicks it and immediately backflips away. He's moving like a ninja while the cave mouth erupts into chaos. He taunts the damn locusts, literally baiting them into the blast zone. This guy is a total savage. Normally, a warrior's detonation probability is trash, but Yukito isn't a normal warrior. He's banking everything on that broken luck stat. A big red warning pops up, POOR quality product. Detonation probability minus 25%. He's basically praying to the RNG gods at this point. USC successful. He screams that it worked. The system confirms his luck just pulled off an impossible 13-stack explosion. White-hot light fills the tunnel as the first bug gets vaporized. That's a lot of damage. Rocks start raining down, crushing the swarm beneath tons of debris. The mountain is finally fighting back. A massive explosion rocks the entire area, causing a total mountain collapse. The entire swarm is being buried alive in one go. Yukito's sneaker hits solid ground with a thud. He's out of the danger zone just in time. He lands gracefully on a rocky ledge while a literal avalanche of stones seals the cave behind him. Talk about a clean getaway. He doesn't even stop to catch his breath, drawing his silver sword again. He knows there's still one loose end. He unleashes Migi Layer Strike, a massive blue crescent of energy that slices through the dust. Close up on that cool, focused eye, he spotted something the others missed in the smoke. One stubborn elite bug managed to survive the collapse. It's crawling out of the rubble looking seriously ticked off. The bug screeches, its purple eyes glowing with rage. It's mini-boss fight time. Yukito doesn't give it a chance to move, activating Mig-Weight Layer Strike once more. The air is humming with power. CR article. A massive vertical beam of light slices the elite bug clean in half. That luck stat is just bullying the monsters at this point. The monster disintegrates into 1,000,000 digital shards. Another problem solved. Yukito stands there looking like a total boss, hair blowing in the wind. He's a bit messy, but he's the only one who looks like he knows what he's doing. The survivors watch from a nearby cliff, absolutely stunned. They can't believe the big one reduced the momentum, and he actually pulled it off. Wait, disaster strikes. The ledge he's standing on starts to crumble. The mountain is still unstable after that massive blast. Yukito slips. He's falling off the side of the mountain while dust and rocks rain down around him. He reaches out a hand, desperately trying to find a grip on the smooth cliff face. This is a bad way to go after winning a war. He's straining every muscle, but the edge is just a little more out of reach. He looks down into the sheer abyss below. For a second, it looks like his luck might have finally run out. Suddenly, a rope loops around his wrist. Someone's got a lifeline ready. A hand grips the rope with white-knuckled intensity. The team isn't letting their hero fall today. The gray-haired guy and the bearded warrior are pulling him up with everything they've got, shouting to fall back as they haul him to safety. Yukito gives a relieved little smile as he's pulled over the edge. He's sweating and exhausted, but he's alive. Take a look at that valley. It's filled with a massive pile of dead bugs and rocks. The monster panic is officially over. Yukito sits on a ledge, watching the sunset over the ruins. He thinks he won the gamble. He's the luckiest man alive, and he knows it. The group is celebrating behind him, crying and cheering. 0 casualties in a monster panic is a miracle, and they have Yukito to thank for it. The rewards are rolling in. Title Exterminator. Granted for the mass extermination of Death Hoppers. That's a pretty badass title to have. He gets a 20% damage boost against all insect-type monsters and jumps up another 3 levels. The grind is paying off big time. And the final prize, a new skill called Warrior's Intuition. Looks like our boy just got a major 6th sense upgrade. Big things are coming. The gang leader is absolutely losing it, slamming his foot down in a blind rage. He just got the news that the monster panic he worked so hard to engineer was completely wiped out. He's clutching his head as the reality of the situation sets in. Not only did the swarm fail, but his entire secret base was destroyed in the process. The dude is literally sweating bullets and shaking with fear. He knows that at this rate, he's going to be killed by the higher-ups for failing so miserably. He clenches his fist, the orange light of a lantern reflecting in his eyes. He's putting all the blame on Yukito, swearing that this is all that guy's fault. To calm his nerves, he starts chugging straight from a wine bottle. He's drinking like a man who knows his days are numbered. He hurls the empty bottle against the table in a fit of pique. The glass shatters everywhere, just like his plans for revenge. The leader stands in a sea of red-tinted fury, looking like a total demon. He screams that he'll definitely kill him. Man, this guy is seriously obsessed with our hero. Check out that terrifying close-up on his eye. He's willing to do whatever it takes to take Yukito down, even if it costs him his own life. The scene shifts back to the Adventurers Guild, looking peaceful and bright compared to that dark hideout. It's business as usual for the top-tier hunters. The regulars are all whispering and pointing as Yukito walks by. It looks like word of his exploits has spread throughout the city. Yukito is casually strolling through the lobby while everyone stares. The receptionist greets him, saying she sees he had another great achievement. He's basically a celebrity now. These rookies are calling him Yukito the Mountain Crusher. They've heard all about how he saved those prisoners and ended the Monster Panic solo. This guy is practically begging Yukito to join his group. Everyone wants a piece of the action now that he's proven he's a powerhouse. Another recruiter jumps in, telling him to join their guild instead. Yukito is getting swamped with offers from people who just want to ride his coattails. He just gives them a polite apology and waves them off. He's perfectly fine being a solo player for now, thank you very much. Yukito reflects on his previous life, where he was always soloed too. He's used to the quiet life, even if he's much more famous this time around. He gets a serious look as he walks away from the crowd. He knows that forming a party would just make his main mission way more complicated. If he's in a group, obtaining the elixir becomes way more uncertain. He can't risk the drop going to someone else when his mother's life is on the line. Here's the mechanical breakdown. Reward distribution in group battles is totally random. Even with his luck, there's no guarantee the system would hand him the best loot. He looks at his finger and realizes that even his 9999 luck has its limits. If someone else's drop has lower rarity, it doesn't matter how lucky he is. So even luck isn't omnipotent. He sighs, knowing he has to keep grinding alone to ensure he gets exactly what he needs. He walks out of the guild doors, looking a bit tired but determined. He thinks nothing's new, ready to head back to reality for a bit. The sun is setting over their apartment building, casting a warm orange glow over everything. It's a nice change of pace from the dreary dungeon floors. Feast your eyes on that spread. The Takahashi family is having a massive celebration dinner with more food than they can probably finish. Yukito puts his hands together for a traditional prayer before the meal. He looks genuinely happy to be back with his family. Nozomi and their mom join him, looking bright and healthy. They thank him for the meal. It's a beautiful domestic scene for a guy who was homeless in his past life. Check out that bite. Yukito dives into some fried food with a huge grin. There's nothing like a home-cooked meal after fighting for your life. He thinks back on how they never missed a celebration, even when they were dirt poor. Their bond as a family has always been their greatest strength. The mood shifts a bit as Nozomi brings up his next move. She's amazed he's already planning to challenge the 20th floor so soon. Their mom looks over with a worried expression, asking if he's really going to be okay. She's still recovering, and the last thing she wants is for her son to get hurt. Nozomi pulls out her phone to show him the stats. The clear rate for the 20th floor is less than 15%. It's a high difficulty zone that eats rookies for breakfast. Yukito just gives them a confident look and says it'll be fine. He reminds them that they both know what he's capable of after everything he's already done. Mom looks at a newspaper clipping on the wall featuring Yukito's success. She's proud of him, but being a parent means you never stop worrying. Close up on Mom as she closes her eyes, her face full of hidden pain. She knows her son is doing all of this for her sake. She pleads with him not to push himself too hard. No parent would be happy to see their child sacrifice themselves, even if it's to save them. Yukito looks down, his face in shadow. He hears her words, but his resolve is like iron. He thinks back to that terrible day in his previous life when he lost his mother. That memory is a nightmare he refuses to let happen again. He gives her a soft, gentle smile. He tells her that no child wants their parents to be unwell, and he's doing this out of love, not obligation. Mom and Nozomi share a look, realizing they can't talk him out of it. Nozomi says her big brother is stubborn, knowing once he decides on something, he's going through with it. Nozomi adds that once he makes up his mind, nothing in the world can change it. He's fully committed to his path. Mom gives a resigned little laugh and rubs her cheek, saying that in that way he's just like his father. Yukito continues eating, telling them not to worry because he's doing this because he wants to. He's taking control of his destiny. The family dinner continues, a moment of peace before the next big storm. Mom is smiling again, happy just to have her children around her. The screen goes dark with a heavy thought. In my previous life, I couldn't save Mom. This is the fuel that keeps him going every single day. Yukito stares at his reflection in a glass of water, seeing the man he used to be versus the man he is now. He takes a long drink, as if trying to wash away the bitter memories of his past failures. That fact is stuck in his heart like a stake. He won't be satisfied until that debt is finally paid in full. He looks at a mental image of the elixir. He needs that legendary cure to erase the past and truly begin his new life. Yukito finishes up and thanks them for the meal. The domestic portion of his life is over for now. It's time to get back to work. The scene shifts to a dark, gloomy dungeon hall with massive stone pillars. The atmosphere is thick with tension and the smell of ancient dust. Yukito's sneaker hits the stone steps as he descends into the depths. He's moving with purpose, his eyes already adjusted to the dark. Welcome to the Tokyo Dungeon's 20th floor, the Starbone Alchemist's Great Wall of Hyperphysics. Talk about a mouthful for a name. He sprints down the massive corridor, looking like a tiny speck against the enormous architecture. This place is huge and definitely not meant for human visitors. Suddenly, a group of mechanical, humanoid monsters appear. They have ghoulish faces and glowing red lines all over their bodies. Yukito draws his massive silver sword, ready for action. He knows that all the monsters on this floor are inorganic constructs, meaning they don't have feelings or mercy. He unleashes a powerful blue energy slash that cuts right through the first wave. These things might be made of stone and metal, but they're still no match for his blade. He stares them down with a cold, focused expression. He views these heartless, cold-blooded killers as a major threat to his progress. A mechanical, dragon-like monster looms in the background, its eyes glowing with malice. Yukito is surrounded by high-level constructs. He slides under an attack, noting that their thinking is purely systematic and logical. They fight with perfect coordination, like a single machine. Yukito stands amongst the rubble of his enemies, holding his sword ready. He's clearing the floor with surgical precision. His foot comes to a stop on the tiled floor with a sharp sound. He's reached the end of the hall. He looks up and sees a massive stone golem sitting on a throne at the end of the chamber. This has to be the boss he's been looking for. The golem slowly stands up, surrounded by a terrifying red aura. It's huge, bulky, and looks like it could crush a house with one hand. Yukito's eyes glow with that intense green light again. He's not intimidated, he's just analyzing the golem's patterns for any weakness. The golem roars, its stone body grinding together with a deafening noise. It's a literal mountain of rock coming to life. Yukito leaps into action, dodging a massive boulder. The golem just slammed down. The ground literally shatters where he was standing a second ago. He slides through the dust, his eyes locked on the target. He looks like a pro athlete in the middle of a high-stakes game. He thinks to himself that he can definitely conquer this floor. His confidence is at an all-time high as he prepares his final attack. Yukito lunges forward, his silver sword glowing with a blinding white and blue energy. He's pouring everything into this strike. Impact. He delivers a devastating blow right to the mechanical core of a monster. The whole room lights up from the sheer power of the hit. He stands before a massive, ornate double door at the end of the dungeon hall. This is the final barrier between him and his goal. He places both hands on the heavy stone doors and starts to push, muttering to himself to, "Let's go." He's ready for whatever's behind them. The screen fades to a brilliant, glowing white with a single message. "Today I change my life." It's the moment of truth. The chapter ends with a shot of Yukito standing in the light as the doors creak open. He looks like a hero stepping into the pages of history, ready to reclaim everything he lost. Yukito steps into the 20th floor boss room, and this place is massive. There's a giant ritual circle on the floor, and you just know something bad is about to happen. He's walking cautiously, his eyes scanning the darkness. Suddenly, he hears a loud mechanical sound echo through the chamber. The ritual circle starts glowing with a terrifying red light. The ground is literally rumbling as the summoning process kicks into gear. Check out that massive foot. The boss is starting to materialize, and it looks like it's made of heavy stone and ancient machinery. More of the beast appears, covered in moss and glowing purple circuitry. This isn't just a monster, it's a living fortress. Behold the ancient golem. This thing is an absolute unit, towering over Yukito with glowing green and pink energy cores. A close-up of the golem's eye shows it's a single glowing red light that looks like a literal Terminator. This is the big boss of the 20th floor. Yukito draws his silver sword, looking completely unfazed. He knows the enemy is hard, tough, and has high attack power, but he's got a plan. The golem tries to slam him, but Yukito dodges it like it's nothing. He thinks to himself that for a boss, its speed is actually pretty average. Our hero is a blur of motion as he sprints across the boss room. He's looking for an opening, and he's moving way too fast for this clunker to keep up. Yukito lands a powerful blue energy slash on the golem's arm. He's playing it smart, steadily destroying its parts one by one. He's sweating but focused, his green eyes locked on the target. He knows he just needs to keep this up to win. He targets the glowing blue core, knowing it's the weak point he needs to eventually destroy. It's all about the long game here. Oh wait, we see a creepy hooded guy smirking in the shadows. This is that gang leader from earlier, and he's definitely up to no good. He's peeking through the doors, watching Yukito do all the hard work. He looks like he's about to pull the ultimate jerk move. The guy activates another red ritual circle right behind Yukito. This is absolute sabotage. The ground rumbles as another ancient golem is being summoned. This guy just turned a fair boss fight into a literal death trap. Yukito's eyes go wide as he realizes what's happening, letting out a shocked shout. Yeah, I'd be saying the same thing if I just got double rated. A second ancient golem fully materializes, surrounded by an evil red aura. Dealing with one was hard enough, but two? Yukito stands between the two titans, looking completely cornered and thinking, there's no way. Talk about an unfair fight. The realization hits him. There's an intruder in the boss room. He's sweating as he realizes someone is actively trying to kill him. He looks back at the entrance, but the hooded guy has already vanished. It's like fighting a ghost who's also a master saboteur. Yukito thinks to himself that interrupting a boss battle to cause a double raid is something not even a rookie would do. He knows this was a targeted hit. He readies his sword, realizing the 20th floor just became a whole lot more dangerous. He's surrounded by stone giants and a hidden killer. Suddenly, a dagger whistles through the air, aimed right for his head. He spots it just in time. He deflects the flying blade with his silver sword. That was way too close for comfort. Yukito knows it doesn't seem to be an accident. He's on high alert now, knowing the intruder is definitely out for blood. The hooded leader, Takeshi Kito, is gritting his teeth in the shadows. He's annoyed that Yukito managed to block his surprise attack. Kito steps out from behind a pillar, looking totally unimpressed. He realizes his stealth has been blown. He pulls out a jagged dagger and gives a nasty smirk. He thinks he still has an overwhelming advantage since Yukito is busy with two bosses. We see a flashback of Kito at his laptop, calling Yukito an idiot. This dude really thinks he's some kind of tactical genius. The boss info on his screen says the ancient golem requires at least 4 people to defeat. He's banking on the fact that Yukito is solo. He remembers entering the room late just to trigger that second boss spawn. Talk about a petty way to win a fight. Back in the present, Kito is looking like a total villain. He's enjoying the chaos he's created. Check out his status, Takeshi Kito, level 52, thief. He's got way more levels than Yukito, and he's not afraid to brag about it. Kito activates skill, catwalk. He's moving with absolute silence, ready to strike while Yukito is distracted. His plan is to redirect all the golem's attention onto Yukito. He's using his high thief skills to stay off the monster's radar. Next skill, shadow crossing. Kito turns into a purple mist, making him almost impossible to track in this dark hall. Yukito is struggling, forced to block a massive golem while Kito circles him like a shark. This is as unfair as it gets. Kito reveals an S-rank rare item, an invisibility cloak. He's layering his stealth so he can be the ultimate cowardly attacker. The thief is now completely invisible, watching the battle from a safe distance. He's just waiting for the perfect moment to end this. He starts pouring a nasty-looking purple liquid onto his dagger. Yep, that's poison. This guy is really pulling out all the stops. He thinks he can attack one-sidedly, feeling pretty smug and believing Yukito doesn't have a chance against an invisible, poisoned enemy. He hurls the poison dagger with a quick flick of his wrist. He's slowly cornering Yukito without even having to risk a direct fight. The dagger grazes Yukito, but look at that system message. Poison, effect check, failed. Yukito's luck is literally saving his life. Kito is absolutely baffled. He can't understand how someone in such light armor has better anti-poison stats than a high-level tank. The thief is fuming, his face contorted with rage. He can't believe his perfect plan is failing. He decides to stop playing around and unleashes a literal rain of throwing knives. He's going for the quantity over quality approach. Yukito is forced to dodge even more traps. Purple orbs are bouncing all over the floor, making the room a total obstacle course. A close-up of a trap orb hitting the ground shows these things are filled with nasty needles that fire off in every direction. The orbs explode, filling the air with projectiles. Yukito is barely keeping ahead of the chaos. Kito pulls a hidden wire, triggering an electric trap. Sparks are flying everywhere as he hems Yukito in. Lightning arcs across the ritual circle, making it a literal death zone for anyone caught inside. The thief is laughing like a maniac, spraying some kind of gas or liquid from a canister. He's using multiple traps to ensure Yukito has nowhere to run. He's determined to restrict his range of movement, planning to turn the entire boss room into a cage for our hero. He figures the boss golems will take care of Yukito automatically once he's stuck. He's already celebrating his victory. Yukito is clashing with a golem while a purple storm of traps swirls around him. He looks like he's in real trouble here. Kito leaps away, planning to just sit back and watch the show from a safe spot. Wait, what? A massive explosion of mana goes off right beneath Kito, making him shout in surprise. Looks like someone just got a rude awakening. The thief is sweating bullets, looking totally panicked. His invisibility was just shattered by a well-timed counter. Yukito looks right at him with a smug, knowing grin, asking if he's run out of magic tricks already. Talk about a total power move. Kito is screaming in total shock. He can't believe a low-level rookie actually found his hidden position. Yukito stands over the thief's dropped dagger, looking completely in control. He tells Kito to stop being silent and say something. He taunts the thief, asking if he's stalking him because he likes him that much. Yukito is having way too much fun with this. Kito is losing it, shouting and demanding to know how Yukito knew exactly where he was hiding. Yukito just gives him a cool, casual look. He claims it was a famous skill. Yeah, okay, buddy, we all know it's that 9999 luck talking. The thief screams that he's lying. He can't accept that a low-level skill would work on a high-level specialist like him. Yukito points his sword and asks if he's going to run away scared. He's baiting the thief into a direct fight. Kito is gritting his teeth, a low growl coming from his throat. He's never been this humiliated in his life. He pulls his remaining daggers and screams not to underestimate him. He's given up on stealth and is going for pure rage. He lunges forward in a blur, screaming that he's the superior one here. He's putting all his level 52 power into this one attack. The silver greatsword meets the dual daggers in a massive burst of energy. This is it. Level versus luck. Yukito delivers a devastating counterstrike that sends Kito flying back with a pained grunt. He just got outmuscled by a level 23. Yukito stands tall, a confident grin on his face. He tells the thief that being arrogant is a line that only survivors get to say. Big mistake to cross our main man. Yukito knocks the thief back with a powerful parry. Kito is literally sliding across the floor, looking way more pathetic than a level 52 should. The thief is fuming, shouting that Yukito found him with something as trivial as warrior's intuition. He's convinced Yukito is full of crap and just got lucky. Yukito just gives him a bored look, telling him he's not lying though. He's basically telling the guy that his high-level stealth is just child's play to him. The system confirms he's using warrior's intuition, a skill that detects danger in the surroundings. It might be simple, but it's the ultimate counter to a sneaky thief. Check out these odds. 99% failure rate. This skill is absolute garbage for normal players, but we all know Yukito isn't normal. A close-up of our hero's eye, glowing with mechanical energy. He's betting everything on that tiny success window. He gives a sly little smirk. He knows the probability is low. Man, he's really leaning into that broken character energy. Great success. The system lights up like a Christmas tree. Luck plus 9999 makes a 0.1% chance live like a guaranteed hit. A tactical radar pops up, showing every trap and enemy in the room. Kito's secret plans are now basically an open book for Yukito. Kito lunges forward, admitting that Yukito is certainly fast for a warrior of his level. He's still trying to play the superior veteran. Yukito deflects the attack with a casual, "Why, thank you." He's treating this high-stakes duel like a light sparring session. The thief goes on a rampage, calling Yukito just a warrior class. He thinks his high agility and accuracy are going to carry the fight. Kito is a total blur of blue speed lines, screaming that his agility is higher. He's desperately trying to outmaneuver the regressor. Red energy slashes fill the air as Kito goes for a killing blow. He's putting all his stats into this one frantic combo. He lands a hit. Yukito grunts as the thief's dagger connects. A system message pops up immediately. Paralysis, check, evaded. Kito is stunned, actually giving Yukito credit for having countermeasures against status ailments. Little does he know, it's just pure, unadulterated luck. Yukito leaps away, looking totally unfazed. He's resetting the distance, making the thief even more frustrated. He dodges a massive rock thrown by a golem while still keeping his eyes on Kito. This guy's spatial awareness is on a whole other level. Close up of the golem's glowing red eye. The boss isn't just standing around, it's looking for its own opening to join the party. Kito screams that Yukito is still in a losing position. He's hoping the two golems will finish what he couldn't. The thief activates his own skill. BEISA star, BE Sting Strike. His dagger glows with a nasty yellow light as he prepares a high accuracy move. Kito is laughing like a maniac, thinking he finally has Yukito cornered. He's already celebrating a win he hasn't earned yet. Yukito counters with Butterfly Dance. He's surrounded by beautiful purple butterflies as he weaves through the air like a ghost. Kito is absolutely bugging out, shouting in disbelief that he dodged it. He can't believe a slow warrior just slipped past his perfect hit skill. Yukito explains the core mechanic. When conflicting skills collide, the higher status value wins. He might be lower level, but his luck stat is basically at infinity. He stares Kito down, basically telling him that his stats are trash compared to the regressor's hidden power. The thief is growling, his face contorted with pure rage. He's reaching his breaking point. Kito is still delusional, shouting that a slow warrior can't catch him and trying to use his speed as a crutch. Suddenly, the ancient golem's eye glows bright red. The boss is tired of being ignored and is ready to fire. Yukito is forced to dive as a massive beam of energy melts the stone behind him. Talk about a close shave. Kito is gloating, saying the 20th floor is great, isn't it? He's using the boss's patterns to pin Yukito down. He explains that the boss here moves according to a specific theory, so he can dodge without even looking. He thinks he's mastered the dungeon. The thief mocks Yukito, assuming he bought his information from the guild too. He really has no idea who he's dealing with. Yukito stays silent, looking cold and focused. He's just waiting for the thief to make one final mistake. Kito is a blur of motion, dodging the golem's attacks with ease. He looks like he's putting on a show for nobody. Yukito sweats a bit as he dodges another blast, pretending to struggle. He looks like he's having a tough time, but we all know it's bait. He stands among the forest of sharp spikes, looking like he's finally cornered. Kito screams that there's no escape from his traps. The thief gives a nasty smirk, getting ready to deliver the final blow. He lunges forward, convinced that in this room with no irregularities, his victory was decided from the start. Kito activates Scorpion EDG Death Strike. A massive purple phantom of a scorpion appears behind him. It's a total overkill move. Yukito groans in pain as he's caught in a massive explosion of purple energy. It looks like game over for our hero. Yukito is sent flying through the air, his body glowing with the after effects of the thief's ultimate move. He hits the ground hard, looking totally defeated. The survivors in the back are probably losing their minds right now. His silver sword falls from his hand and clatters onto the stone floor. It's a bad omen if I'd ever seen one. Yukito lies face down, shadows over his eyes. The thief is already celebrating his win. Kito leaps into the air with glowing red eyes, screaming that it's time to finish him off. He's going for a brutal downward stab. Yukito lets out a blood-curdling scream. He looks like he's having a total mental breakdown. Wait, he snaps his eyes open with a cheeky grin. Just kidding. Talk about the ultimate psycho. He slams his hand onto a hidden pressure plate on the floor, thinking he's got him. A massive purple dome of energy erupts right beneath the thief. The hunter just became the prey. Kito is absolutely bugging out, screaming in shock about the gravity trap as he's pinned to the ground by 10 times his own weight. Yukito stands up and brushes himself off. He reminds Kito that he just said there were no irregularities in this room. The thief is struggling to even speak, his jaw locked tight by the gravity field. His mouth won't move properly. Tough break, buddy. Yukito towers over the pinned thief, looking like a total boss. He explains that the strategy info people know is only for normal conditions. He laughs, telling Kito that nobody anticipates an idiot interrupting a boss battle. He's basically calling the thief's entire plan a joke. Kito is panicking, realizing that, in other words, his plan just backfired in the worst way possible. The ancient golem roars as it prepares a follow-up attack. The boss is aggroed onto the loudest person in the room, and that's Kito. Yukito explains that with a double raid, the structure of the boss room itself changed. The environment is now working against the intruder. He dodges a piece of falling rubble, looking totally in his element. The entire chamber is coming apart at the seams. Yukito mocks him, asking how a professional thief couldn't even detect the trap locations. He tells him he's slipping. Kito screams not to mock him, trying to force his way out of the gravity trap. He's losing his mind. He can't believe he's losing to a warrior-class rookie. He's spitting out his rage like poison. A massive mechanical arm slams into Kito with a sickening crack that had to break a few ribs. The thief is coughing up a literal geyser of blood. He's getting absolutely tenderized by the boss he summoned. Kito lies broken on the floor, wondering how this is possible as his vision fades. He's finally realizing he picked a fight with a monster in human skin. The golem raises both arms for a final smash. This is it, the end of the road for the gang leader. A massive pillar of red energy incinerates everything in the blast zone. Talk about total annihilation. Close-up of Kito's bloody hand on the cold stone floor. He's completely out for the count. His final thought is one of total disbelief. Even his high-level search skills couldn't detect Yukito's move. Kito stares at the ceiling one last time, wondering what he is before everything goes black. Kito is face down in the dirt, spitting out a mouthful of blood. He looks completely broken after that last encounter, and it's honestly about time. Yukito stands over his defeated enemy, silver sword still in hand. He looks cold as ice as he tells the thief to stay right where he is. Our hero gives him a final choice. Stay alive and face the music with the police once the boss is dead. He's being way more generous than I would be after everything Kito pulled. One of the ancient golems looms in the background as Yukito turns his attention back to the raid. Kito is still on the ground, but he's definitely not finished yet. Kito's face is covered in blood as he snarls through his teeth, telling Yukito not to mess with him. Yeah, okay, buddy. You're the one currently kissing the pavement. Yukito's eyes go wide as he senses something is very wrong. He's caught off guard by the sheer desperation coming from the thief. Kito lets out a maniacal laugh that would make a horror movie villain jealous. He's totally lost it, swearing he'll drag Yukito to hell along with him. He pulls out a massive bundle of high-grade red dynamite. This isn't the cheap trash Yukito confiscated earlier. This is the real deal. The thief is literally strapped with explosives, looking like a total madman. He's determined to end everything right here, regardless of the cost. Yukito is screaming, asking him if he's insane. He can't believe this guy is actually going through with a suicide mission in the middle of a boss room. Kito starts laughing like a psycho as he brings up a system prompt. He's literally hovering over the YES button to blow them both to Kingdom Come. He hits the button with zero hesitation. Talk about a game over moment for everyone involved. A massive pillar of fire and smoke erupts, filling the entire boss chamber. That's enough dynamite to bring the whole dungeon floor down. Yukito is caught right in the blast, his face contorted in a silent scream. He's being thrown around like a rag doll by the sheer force of the explosion. The stone floor is literally disintegrating beneath his feet. The structural damage is so bad the ground is turning into a bottomless pit. The entire area is caving in, sending massive boulders and debris falling into the dark abyss. This is a total nightmare scenario. Yukito is free-falling through the smoke and rubble, letting out a final groan as he realizes there's no stopping his descent. He hits the hard stone floor of a hidden room with a sickening thud, groaning in pain. Yeah, that's the understatement of the century, buddy. He's lying there clutching his head, blood dripping down his face. He's barely survived the blast and the fall, and he's clearly in a world of hurt. He looks up at the small circle of light high above him. He's fallen so deep into the mountain that there's absolutely no way to climb back up. He scans the room, realizing he's stumbled into a hidden arena. He didn't expect a secret floor like this to be hiding beneath the 20th floor boss room. Out of the shadows, more ancient golems emerge. It's like the dungeon just decided to turn the difficulty up to impossible on a whim. The golems are absolutely massive, their mechanical limbs grinding together with a deafening noise. Yukito is just a tiny speck compared to these giants. He grits his teeth, realizing he's trapped and boxed in with 2 high-level bosses and no exit. This is a literal death trap. Close up on his eye as he breaks into a cold sweat. He's injured and exhausted, but his brain is still hunting for a workaround. Wait, what's that? He spots a faint golden glow coming from the end of the narrow corridor. It's a legendary-looking treasure chest sitting on a pedestal. The light coming from it is practically blinding. He gives a sly, bloody smirk as he realizes the situation. Hidden rooms like this always contain the most powerful treasures, usually the ones worth protecting with 2 bosses. Yukito readies his sword, his eyes glowing with new intensity. He's not going down without a fight. The golems are blocking the way, and the room is way too narrow for his usual dodging tactics. He's going to have to go right through them. He looks at the chest one more time, knowing it's his only hope. There's absolutely no space to play it safe here. The golems are powering up their energy cores, turning the air purple. He knows he can't win a long endurance battle in his current state. He decides he has no choice but to bet his fate on that treasure chest. He's going for the high-risk gamble of a lifetime. He sprints forward with everything he's got left. He's weaving between the golems like a ghost, ignoring the pain. The room shakes as the golems try to stomp him flat. He's barely keeping ahead of the massive mechanical limbs. He's sliding between their legs, the scale of the fight looking absolutely insane. This is peak boss fight parkour. He grunts as he gets grazed by a heavy metal arm, nearly losing his balance. He's pushing his body way past the breaking point. He's moving so fast he's a blur, but look at that blood on the floor. He's literally leaving a trail as he charges for the prize. He can see the blue and gold chest clearly now. It's right there. Suddenly, one of the golems locks on with its red eye. It's charging up a point-blank execution beam that's glowing with terrifying heat. Direct hit. Yukito is swallowed by a massive explosion of red energy. It looks like he just got vaporized. He's sent screaming across the room, slamming into the stone wall with enough force to crack it. This is a brutal scene to watch. He slumps to the floor in a pile of rubble, looking totally lifeless. The damage from that blast was absolute overkill. He whispers that it's okay through the blood. He's still conscious, which is a literal miracle given the hit he just took. He checks his stats with a shaky hand. His spine isn't broken, but he's definitely in the red zone for HP. Close up on his eye, reflecting the grim reality of the situation. He's fading fast, and the golems are already moving in for the kill. The boss towers over him, its core glowing as it readies another blast. He's a sitting duck on the floor. He tries to crawl away, but his body is failing him. His eyes are rolled back, and he's losing focus. He lets out a blood-curdling scream of pure agony. The internal injuries are finally catching up to him. Everything turns a horrific shade of red as he coughs up a geyser of blood. He looks like he's having a total physical meltdown. He manages to stand up, but he's shaking like a leaf. He's gasping for air in a room filled with the smell of blood and scorched stone. He's barely hanging on by a thread, his vision probably swimming as he stares down the mechanical monsters. He clenches his bloody fist, his face a mask of pure determination. He refuses to die in some forgotten hole in the ground. The pain is so severe he's literally on the verge of vomiting. This guy is going through absolute hell. He looks at the treasure chest with a look of pure defiance, thinking, so what? He's not scared of a little pain anymore. He flashes back to the gore and trauma of his first life. He spent 85 years suffering, so he's used to the dark. He lets out a defiant roar, his eyes burning with white-hot rage. He's turning all that past regret into raw power. He remembers being called useless for 70 years. That emotional scar hurts way worse than any laser beam ever could. He shouts at the bosses that this is nothing, his face splattered with blood. He's completely lost it, and it's awesome. He lunges forward and slams his hand onto the treasure chest. It's jackpot time or death. He's screaming that he wouldn't even call this suffering as he forces the chest open. This guy is officially built different. Light explodes from the chest as he reaches inside. The power is so intense it's pushing back the shadows in the arena. Inside sits a beautiful blue and gold bracer. It's glowing with a mystical mana that looks like liquid starlight. Yukito gives a bloody, triumphant grin. He's finally found the key to winning this impossible fight. A close-up of the bracer shows it looks ancient and incredibly powerful. This is the hidden treasure Kito didn't know about. The golems are both fully charged, energy arcing between their cores. They're about to fire a combined blast that will incinerate everything. As I thought, he's got the bracer on his wrist. The golden light is swirling around his arm, reacting to his presence. He stands tall, glowing with an insane amount of blue energy. Even with blood all over his face, he looks like a god of war. He's got what it takes to survive, and it's about to get messy. Yukito just scored a major jackpot with the Bracelet of Warp. This is the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card he was looking for. The system confirms this thing is a rare item that allows movement to any location. Talk about a literal game-changer in the middle of a raid. Our guy is covered in blood but looking totally hype right now. He knows this bracelet is perfect for his current, very messy situation. The big prompt pops up asking if he wants to use the Bracelet of Warp. You better believe he's smashing that YES button as fast as he can. The ancient golems are breathing down his neck, and one of them is already charging up a massive energy attack. Time to move, buddy. Of course, there's a catch. Yukito has a non-compatible class for this magic tool. That's a massive 50% penalty to his activation chances right off the bat. The golem's eye is glowing with malicious intent as it locks onto its target. This is definitely one of those don't blink moments. The bad news just keeps rolling in with another penalty for his magic power being too low. His activation probability is getting sliced and diced by the system. Yukito stares death in the face as the golem towers over him like a mountain of stone. He's putting everything on this one roll of the dice. Look at that success rate, a miserable 15%. For any other player, this would be a suicide mission, but Yukito's luck stat is built different. He reaches out with the bracer, and those glowing blue rings start expanding around his wrist. It's a literal do-or-die moment. The golem fires a massive green laser that should have turned Yukito into a charcoal briquette. The entire floor just erupted in a massive explosion of rock and light. The golems definitely think they won this round. Check out the detail on that bracer as it hits peak power. The mana circles are spinning like crazy to pull off this warp. Warp successful. Yukito disappears in a flash of blue energy just as the beam incinerates the spot he was standing on. He teleports right behind one of the titans, Silver Sword already glowing for a counterattack. Talk about a high-speed flanking maneuver. Close-up of our hero looking absolutely locked in. He's bruised and battered, but those green eyes say he's not done yet. The second golem is already turning its glowing eye toward him. These things have some seriously scary reaction times for stone giants. Yukito gets clipped by a red energy beam that catches him completely off guard. That's gonna leave a mark. He slams into the stone wall with enough force to leave a massive crater. This fight is turning into a brutal game of ping-pong. He's still standing, though he admits these golems are ridiculously tough even after the earlier explosions. Time for a new plan, or at least a new warp. He thinks that's fine and activates the bracer again, looking like he's got a second wind. Another successful warp sends him zip-zagging through the air. He's using his luck to basically spam a 15% skill like it's a standard move. He slams his sword down, creating a green energy shockwave to stun his enemies. He's used to the grind, so this repetition is just business as usual for him. Yukito gets swatted again, flying through the dark chamber like a ragdoll. These golems are playing rough today. He grunts as he hits the floor, looking like he's reaching his limit. You can only take so many boss-level hits before your health bar hits 0. He stares down the two mechanical giants, catching his breath for one final push. The scale of this fight is just insane. Both golems are closing in on his position, looking like total Terminators. It's 2-on-1, and Yukito is looking pretty isolated right now. The system starts calculating as he readies the bracelet one more time. It's all or nothing on this final teleport. Warp successful. He teleports right above his target's head, looking like a total boss. He unleashes a massive blue energy slash that cuts through the darkness. He's putting every bit of mana he has left into this swing. The golem's eye glows a terrifying red as it tries to track him mid-swing. Too late, buddy. Direct hit. The blue energy slices right through the golem's heavy stone armor. Yukito lands between the two giants, looking like he's about to have a mental breakdown. He's repeating no matter how many times, like a man possessed. He grips his silver sword so hard his knuckles are turning white. His determination is the only thing keeping him in the fight at this point. He shouts that he absolutely won't give up. He's glowing with a strange green aura now, looking more like a monster than the golems do. A heavy thump echoes as he lands another direct strike. He's basically turned this boss fight into a personal vendetta. He's unloading a literal storm of blue slashes onto the golem's head. The sheer speed of his attacks is mind-blowing. Another successful warp. He's blinking around the room so fast the golems can't even lock their sensors on him. Yukito is mid-air, silver blade ready to deliver the killing blow. He's looking like an absolute legend in this lighting. A massive purple and pink explosion of energy fills the room. It looks like one of the golem's cores just went critical. He slices right through the center of the blast with a perfectly timed warp strike. This is peak gaming right here. He spots a glowing green core, the ultimate weak point. If he hits this, it's game over for the golem. He delivers a series of cross slashes in a blur of blue light. He's dismantling this high-level boss piece by piece. He's falling through a blue mana portal, resetting his position for the next move. His control over the warp bracelet is getting scary. The golems are looking confused, wondering where their tiny opponent went. Little do they know, he's already right above them. Yukito is plummeting from the ceiling like a falling star. He's got the high ground, and he's about to use it. He's covered in blood and sweat, but that grin is terrifying. He's rolling the dice one last time, and he's betting on a natural 20. The two golems look up in unison, their glowing eyes fixed on the descending threat. This is the final showdown. He drops right between the two giants, looking like a total ninja. The speed lines on this panel are just insane. He's looking down with total focus as he passes through the warp. This is his way of doing things, and it's about to pay off big time. The mana rings glow around his hand one last time. He's using every last drop of his luck and stamina on this final warp. He disappears in a white streak of pure speed. The golems don't stand a chance when he's moving like this. Direct hit. He teleports right onto a golem's head and slams his silver greatsword down with everything he's got. The purple energy core is exposed and cracked. It's literal seconds away from a total meltdown. He uses a blue mana circle as a springboard, launching himself high into the air. He's repositioning for his ultimate finishing move. He's standing on top of the stone giant silver blade glowing with intense white energy. This is it. He activates BEISA Sting Strike. It's the same move Kito used, but Yukito is about to show him how it's really done. He delivers a brutal downward stab right into the monster's brain. The impact is so powerful it's creating a literal shockwave. Critical. A massive pillar of golden light erupts from the kill. That luck stat just guaranteed he hit the jackpot. He stands triumphantly over the wreckage of the mindless golem. He's looking totally badass despite the injuries. Close up on the golem's eye as the red light fades. The mechanical soul of this beast is finally gone. He readies his final Megillar strike. His sword is glowing with a blinding white mana that looks like it could cut through space itself. Yukito gives a wild, bloody grin. He's shouting that his determination won't be broken. This guy is officially a certified boss. The remaining golem charges up a massive final beam, but it's too little, too late. UL Time 8. A giant, rainbow-colored slash cuts the titan clean in half. This has to be the most satisfying kill yet. Close up on our hero looking completely drained. He's won the war, but he has 0 mana and even less stamina left. The second ancient golem crumbles into a pile of smoking rubble. The boss room is finally quiet for the first time in hours. Yukito collapses into the ruins, looking totally spent. He's just lying there in the aftermath of a legendary battle. A red warning box pops up on his bracer. USAG alignment reached. Please recharge. He really did push that 15% success rate to the absolute limit. He's splayed out on the stone floor, breathing like he just ran a marathon through hell. He looks rough, but look at that smile. The system confirm messages start rolling in. Yukito. Takahashi has defeated the boss monster ancient golem twice. Talk about a massive XP dump. And here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for. Yukito just obtained the legendary L-rank item, elixir. Close-up of his eye, finally seeing the prize he restarted his entire life for. The relief on his face is just palpable. Check out that elixir. Glowing green liquid in a fancy bottle. This is the miracle his mother needs to stay alive. Yukito sits up, looking like he's seen better days, but he's got the biggest grin on his face. He's finally holding his family's future in his hands. He uncorks the bottle and takes a drink immediately. He needs to heal up fast if he's going to make it out of this dungeon. He's chugging it down as green energy starts swirling around him. You can practically see the health bar filling back up. He lets out a long, satisfied breath. That's the taste of a 100% full heal right there. A massive pillar of green light erupts from his body. The mana from the elixir is literally overflowing. His feet are surrounded by sparkling green particles as the magic finishes the job. He looks brand new. All his wounds are glowing and closing up in seconds. He's finally free from the pain of his previous 80 years. He lies back down, looking completely refreshed and full of life. He's done it. He actually survives the double raid. The sunlight streams down through the hole in the ceiling, illuminating him in the middle of the rubble. It's a beautiful shot to end a brutal fight. Close up on his green eye, looking clear and full of hope. He's not the failure he used to be anymore. He gives a confident little smirk, thinking he's somehow still alive. Yeah, and I wouldn't bet against him ever again. He sits up in the middle of the ruins, looking totally relaxed. He's conquered the 20th floor and he's just getting started. The titles start rolling in. Survivor, Vitality plus 10. Not a bad bonus for a guy who just stared death in the face. And there's more. Solo Double Giant Killing, Strength plus 20, and Justice Executor, Dexterity plus 10. This guy's stats are about to go through the roof. Yukito's swiping through his inventory and check that out. The elixir is officially logged and ready for use. The dream is finally within reach. He gives a soft, satisfied smile. He's been through hell to get this bottle, and seeing it right there makes all the bruises worth it. Yukito stands in the middle of the boss room rubble, taking a moment to catch his breath. He's finished the raid, but he's still got one more thing to do. He spots something interesting on the ground. A quick dash, and he's closing in on a piece of evidence. It's a tattered white cloth, stained with blood. He picks it up with a grim expression, knowing exactly who it belonged to. He's looking at the bloody remains of Kito's outfit. The thief is gone, but he left behind a very clear trail of his crimes. Yukito's eyes narrow as he inspects the cloth. Something about it catches him by surprise. A close-up of the bloody white cloak. It's a grisly reminder of how far Kito was willing to go for a petty grudge. He wonders if this will be enough evidence to pin the crimes on Kito. He's not just a warrior, he's playing the long game to make sure justice is served. He heads back to the massive, ornate doors, bloody cloth in hand. His work on the 20th floor is officially done. He places his hands on the heavy doors and starts to push. Even for a silver rank, these doors are no joke. The doors creak open, and the sunlight hits his face. He's got that main character glow again, looking like a total boss. Yukito walks out of the dungeon, silhouetted against the bright exit. He's stepping out of the darkness and back into the world. Back at the surface, he makes a beeline for the guild. He's got a report to file and a thief to expose. The receptionist is absolutely horrified when Yukito drops the bloody cloth on the counter. She's trembling, clearly not used to seeing evidence this grisly. She's stuttering, completely overwhelmed by the situation and saying she'll call someone higher up. Looks like Yukito just broke the guild's calm afternoon. Yukito realizes he's done something quite significant. He's not just a rookie anymore, he's the guy who just shut down a major gang leader. A high-ranking official in a suit steps out, looking very serious. He wants an interview with Yukito for publicity. Man, the fame train is officially leaving the station. Yukito's not interested in the spotlight. He's in a hurry and tells the suit to rain-check the interview for another day. He's got a family to save. He's sprinting through the streets of Tokyo, cherry blossoms blowing in the wind. He's moving so fast, people are probably wondering where the fire is. His sneakers are a blur as he races home. Every second counts when you're carrying a miracle in your pocket. People on the street are recognizing him from the news, asking if that isn't Yukito Takahashi. Yeah, the mountain crusher is in the building, folks. Check out that giant billboard. Fastest record for the 20th floor. Solo defeat of 2 bosses. He's officially a local legend. He arrives at the apartment building just as the sun is starting to set. He was as quick as possible, and now the real mission begins. He flings the door open with a loud click. He's finally home with the prize. Nomi and Mom are right there, welcoming him home, looking happy and healthy. The contrast between his bloody dungeon run and this warm home life is just beautiful. Yukito shows them the elixir, a tired but triumphant look on his face. He's done the impossible. Next stop, the hospital. The building looks bright and hopeful under the clear blue sky. The family sits together in the doctor's office. The doctor says the detailed examination results are in, looking very professional. Yukito and Nozomi are both leaning in, sweat on their brows. This is the moment they've been waiting for since the rollback. The doctor announces that Yukue-san's illness has been completely cured. Boom, there it is. The ultimate victory for the Takahashi family. Nozomi and Yukito are absolutely losing it with joy, shouting in disbelief. Their faces are the definition of pure relief. The doctor gives a firm yes. He notes that the effects of the elixir are truly remarkable, which is a fancy way of saying it's a literal magic miracle. The siblings share a massive hug with their mom. After everything they've been through, they're finally a whole healthy family again. They're all cheering that it's wonderful and they're so glad. The room is overflowing with happiness. This is what winning looks like, people. Mom looks at her son, her eyes full of gratitude, telling him this is all thanks to him. He's finally achieved the goal that eluded him for 85 years. She gives him a soft thank you. This one moment is worth more than all the S-rank loot in the dungeon. Yukito stays quiet, his face in shadow. He's taking a second to just soak in the feeling of success. He tells his mom thank you for raising them this far, giving a gentle, genuine smile. He's finally at peace with his past. The 3 of them stand together, a silhouette of family love. He thinks to himself that he finally got to say it. He's closed a chapter of his life that's been open for 80 years. We see a glimpse of old Yukito from his previous life. He's got that same look of relief, even if it took him a lifetime to get here. Nozomi giggles, teasing him about being so serious. She reminds him there in front of the doctor. Way to break the tension, sis. She tells him to save this for home, giving a cheeky wink, already planning a huge party. She's the life of the family, as always. Yukito laughs, admitting she's right. He's finally relaxing for the first time in either life. Nozomi says honestly, sometimes Big Brother doesn't see his surroundings. She's not wrong, he does get a bit tunnel-visioned. But then the mood shifts. A dark, purple tint fills the room. Something is very wrong. Suddenly, everyone else in the room is frozen. Time itself seems to have stopped, and Yukito is the only one left standing. A mysterious figure in white armor and a red cape steps into the room. This looks like a top-tier adventurer, and they definitely don't look friendly. The figure looks down at the frozen family, calling them a kind, earnest family. Their voice sounds cold and detached. The blonde adventurer sighs, saying, "This family has to be made unhappy. This dude is a total buzzkill and, honestly, a bit creepy." He looks genuinely sad about it, which is almost worse. He thinks he's performing some kind of necessary cruelty. He starts planning a fake cardiac arrest for the family. He wants to make it look like a tragic but natural death that the bereaved family will just accept. He stands over Nozomi, looking totally cold-blooded. This hero is actually a cold-hearted assassin. He declares the cause of death as cardiac arrest, but then stops, looking confused. Something just interrupted his perfect plan. Yukito is glowing with a ferocious purple aura. He's broken through the time stop and he looks absolutely furious. Yukito meets the assassin's blade with his own sword in a massive burst of energy. He's not letting anyone touch his family. The blonde guy is in total shock. He can't believe a rookie actually parried his attack. Yukito is snarling, demanding to know what this guy is planning. He's gone full protective Big Brother mode. They're locked in a high-speed duel, their blades creating a storm of energy. The blonde guy is genuinely baffled, asking why he's able to move. Yukito's eyes go wide as he recognizes his opponent. He's putting the pieces together. He realizes he's looking at the hero himself. This guy isn't a random assassin. He's a world-famous protector. Check out his status. Cosmorito Oyama, adventurer ranking number 1. He's literally the strongest man in the world. We see a flashback of Cosmorito standing in a sea of defeated monsters. He looks like a savior, but we know the dark truth now. He gives a cheeky wink, calling himself Cosmic Justice Oyama. This dude is a total narcissist, clearly loving his own hype. Yukito spots his adventurer tag. It's a rainbow-colored real-deal badge. This guy is as legit as it gets in the guild system. Yukito is sweating, wondering why the hero would try to harm Nozomi. The strongest man in the world is trying to kill his sister, and nothing makes sense anymore. Cosmorito just smirks, telling Yukito it's his turn to ask questions. He's playing games while he's literally holding a blade. The hero explains they're in a void barrier, a zone where time and space are warped. He notes that only a select few can even function here. He drops a major truth bomb. Only those who have experienced death of the soul can move in this place. Yukito's 85 years of suffering are finally working in his favor. Cosmorito closes one eye, looking like a total detective. He says there's only one logically derived conclusion to all of this. He asks if he's a regression person, isn't he? Boom. The secret is out, and the strongest man in the world just called our hero out. This is a total game changer.